Matt, you were just included in that?
Yeah, well, there was some back and forth. So, before I even got to the emails, Paul had said, well, he could continue with the threading, and then I had written back that I was planning to do the three-corner bowl, and
I
there was some
recall seeing that.
there was some back and forth on that. So, and we were all doing the reply all. So I don't know. I got two bounced emails. So, and I don't know. I'm on mail.com. Sometimes some email companies block mail.com. So I don't know if that's what it is, but I don't know. I got some that came back. So just so you know.
Yeah, I just did a reply to all, and I didn't get any rejection. So it might just have been your mail service, Matt.
All right, maybe that's what it is then. Maybe it's just me.
Always something, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, if I don't forget, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
Yeah.
His fifth bottle of mayonnaise. That's what it means.
Maybe we'll have sangria and donuts.
But everybody celebrate Star Wars Day yesterday?
Yep.
May the fourth be with you. Yes.
Ronnie, did you say you were bringing donuts?
No, I said maybe we could have donuts and sangria.
Ooh.
But Bob, that's a good move. Let's put him on the spot for the donuts.
There you go. I'll run up and go get some donuts. How are you, Bob?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
All right. Where's the birdhouses?
I didn't make any this week.
No? Okay.
No,
They flew the coop.
homeless birds.
So you telling us you have apartments for rent, huh?
Yeah, I got one I'm waiting for a homeless bird for, but he hadn't come yet.
Bob sent in some beautiful. Bob sent in some other of his work, and it's going in a newsletter. Some really nice work, Bob.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I wanted to share something. I've been sort of like watching the internets and so on for decent webcams that are pretty cheap, that handle the color and the glare transitions. And I've got two now that are the same one that I really like. It's this one here and my tailstock camera. I replaced them. It's $30 on Amazon. It's called an eMeet C960. And it's like $30 delivered.
Something you ought to put in the chat.
Yeah, we need to get that spelling because I'm not going to get that spelling.
I'll put it in the chat. But you guys can judge, on the demo tonight, because one of the things I'm using them now. So this one here, it's wide angle, so you see more of me, and I've got it on the tailstock camera too. So, and one of the things that I can do inside the settings on vMix is I can raise the sharpness of the camera, which ought to be able to let people see the tool and the chips and stuff better. But my problem has always been that I've got too much light in the shop and it tends to glare stuff out. And these cameras seem to be handling the light and the color contrasts much better than most everything else I've tried. So, and they're real cheap. So win-win.
I had the same problem with lighting. I managed the building of the crime lab for Jefferson Parish down here. That's one of the bigger law departments. And we had some working spotlights to go under the canopies and stuff. And somebody designed it and they wouldn't fit. When you mounted them, they were about 2 inches off the table. So the guy managing for the sheriff's department gave me one. I went through all the trouble over the weekend of putting it in. I turned it on, could not use it. For me, it was awesome. The camera, it was like looking in the sun.
Wow. Yeah, that's been the problem I've had with some of these, low budget Chinese cameras. My Logitech, this one here that's sitting over the overhead view, I'm still using it. That seems to do things pretty good, but I haven't been able to get that, and the price like tripled when lockdowns happened, a year ago, February. So I've been sort of, keeping my eye out and watching the boards, and this one, several people had said some good things about this camera. So I bought one, $30, right? Worst comes to worst, I've got another webcam. But it's handling things pretty well. And I'm much happier with this than I have been with the other ones I have. So.
I'd love to see the name on that.
Yeah, it's in the chat, Eddie. It's an eMeet C960. So
Yeah, Matt just put it up in the chat.
Eddie,
Hey, yes, sir.
you're talking into one machine and the picture is capturing you from another machine. You need to look to the right if you're going to talk. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. That's you there.
you having trouble reading his lips, Ronnie?
Really, I moved that camera back, and I didn't get in the right spot because I'm watching all this on a big screen TV. I really like that.
Yeah, go for it.
Who's just trying to imitate Ronnie?
Pardon me?
But you were just trying to imitate Ronnie.
Oh, you know what? I didn't catch that right off, but you're right. I'm a little slow today, but that's okay.
You know, Ronnie's doing exactly the same thing. He's always looking off to the side, and he looks like he's half asleep all the time.
There you go. Okay. I caught myself doing the same thing then. I'm watching it on TV and I'm laying back in my easy chair. So, where are you, Mr. John? I seen you a few minutes ago.
Me, John Brown,
Yeah,
Jack Brown.
yeah.
I'm here.
I
I'm looking
know,
right down. I'm looking right down at you. You're got your eyes closed.
I was getting ready to holler at you, and you got up and went and got something to drink or something.
No, no, no. I went and I turned another side light on here so that when it gets dark outside, I've got some light on me.
There you go.
Well,
You
I
know,
don't
we were covering some other bases, Ronnie. We have Martin in with us tonight.
Who's with us?
Martin.
Martin. Where are you, Martin?
Across the pond.
I'm right here, Ronnie. Are you all right?
There you go.
There he is.
Yeah, I seen you the other day with Cade's demo.
Oh, great demo, kid.
Yeah,
Does he's
sure.
very. I grabbed him tonight to do me a small bowl demo, and what a cracking demo he's done for me tonight. He's just so good with the tools and so explicit the way that he tells you about everything.
It is probably one of the most detailed demos I will see that won't go over to turn his head. It goes right in their head. I mean, it's there. I enjoyed it. I hung in there.
I said to Katie tonight, it's a good job he doesn't live so close to me, because if I said to my wife, I'm just nipping to Katie's for a quick coffee, I'd be there till next Wednesday.
Oh, Doug Miller's in the house.
Doug Miller from Kentucky.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, Doug.
With a blue shirt on.
Oh yeah, blue tonight.
Yeah, that's blue.
Looks like you should be holding one of those signs out on the road by the traffic.
That's right.
I thought it was
I
a
got
purple
this.
shirt.
I got this one and a blue one just like it a couple years ago when I started walking. I had a stroke and the doctors were saying I got to lose some weight, so started walking, and I got this and the blue one, and they've got some reflective stripes on them, so can walk in the evening.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know
you got to do what you got to do if the mechanic says you got to do it.
That's exactly right. It worked. It worked.
Every time I visit my doctor, they'll say, "What do you think about this?" Wait a minute. If I get a vote, it's the wrong vote.
Well, Martin, tell us about your new backdrop.
My new backdrop, Ronnie. I bought myself a green screen, and of course your meeting coincides. Well, it doesn't coincide. It comes straight after my meeting, and it means I have to change all my backdrop afterwards. But the new backdrop is all about the website that I've had done that is not actually part of my club. The idea of the website is that people can go to the website and find information of what's on. So what's online page gives you instantly a link from my website straight into your website to get you into this meeting tonight. It just saves people who don't know where they're going. They can go to one page and find things that are online. So I'm relying on turners telling us about demonstrations that they've got on, or any events like your night tonight will go on the website free of charge so that people can find it and get access to it with an easy click to get to the website and find the information. There's also a resources page where people can go, and for some people, certainly when they're starting off turning, I felt that when a man said you buy your tools from Record Power, that was the only option I had. What I want to try and do is put as many resources on there with easy links so that you can click on Record or Robert Sorby or such and such a tool company and try and give them all the information in one place.
That's one of the best. That's one of the best things I've heard, Martin, because I developed something like that for a club here, and we had 2 pages of it, resources and demonstrators or whatever, and that was before our IRDs were even thought of.
Yeah.
And when I turned that over to a new management, they said it was too busy. They eliminated it.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, you know the same as I do. It's about trying to bring a community together and give people options. Don't sell them stuff. Just give them the knowledge to understand where they can buy it if they want to.
That's right.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create somewhere where it's free for everybody to go and have a look, and it's free for people to put information on there.
That's a great idea. Great idea. Resource like that. Boy, wish our webmaster could hear this.
Well, I need to speak. I sent a message to the webmaster to tell him that I've put a direct link onto the home page, but I haven't caught up with that because it's come through. It's come through my contactors, and I've got a web guy who does my site for me, so he kind of relays any information to me, I just didn't get time to get back in touch with your webmaster because I said if you can put a link to my site off your site because I've put your link on my site to your site, we'll be able to do something between the two of us to try and get people into one place or another where they can find the information.
Well, you know, our guy's so hard to get a hold of and deal with. You know.
Yeah.
Kind of
Martin,
a
I'm sorry. I read that last week and got a little confused because you indicated you wanted your website and the club website, and I wasn't sure whether they were one and the same or not, so I wanted to contact you today and say, are they 2 different websites, the same one? I emailed your webmaster, and if it wasn't you, he thought I was crazy because he was saying, why am I getting this strange question?
Yeah, well, that did come back across to me, and I was meaning to send you an email back, but I was trying to word it. How do I try to word it to say, this is my club website, but it's not my club website. It's a resources site that I'm trying to tell you to link to. So any links on your web page needs to go to the diary page. It doesn't need to go to my club site. It wants to be onto the diary page so that people can get access to that diary. So I will do you an email, but it might come over in English. And I know you guys don't understand English sometimes.
I'm just Hungarian. I'm not certain.
We have tried to train you in English.
I'm lost.
Yeah, we're gonna work with that. But I know what he's talking about. Ate in a restaurant like that one time. You know, you had to pick which you wanted out of columns, but you better know what it is when you pick it. Got a lot of people popping in this season. We're gonna go pretty much full boat. I'm really happy about this. I don't have good news on SWAT this week. Their site still doesn't allow registration, but it is coming. They're working out the bugs, and there are a lot of bugs coming back from this virus thing. There are a lot of bugs. What we can do, what the management of the facility will allow you to do, and what people will do. You know, you got 3 groups there you got to put together. And fortunately, it's the best managed organization I've ever been around because it's made up of wood turning clubs, no businesses. Got to remember that. It's not made of businesses. And they're putting this thing together. We'll hear from one of them tonight. I'm pretty sure they'll be in with us. It's something I plan on every year and I'm trying to figure out a way to get there except walking. Because my boss says she ain't taking me. All right. The wig stand challenge. Ronnie, you're still in there, I believe.
Yeah, Ronnie's on there.
I just unmuted myself. I'm still here.
37. My gosh.
How about that?
Incredible. You've made enough for the entire world almost. Well, maybe not quite that, but boy, you're going.
I know. I was given the word yesterday to hold back anymore, and she'll get back in touch with me when she needs more.
Whoa. That's a milestone.
You know you're doing good when they start saying slow down.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. What is the saturation level? How do you know how many a particular market or whatever, how do we know how many a group needs?
Well,
when they say hold back, that's probably a good hint.
Fair enough.
Joe Klein took on a hospital close by, and I think he's dropped off, I want to say he either dropped off a total of 18 or 20 probably. And he left his card, and he left a message with him that when they start to run low, to give him a call, and he would get them some more when they're ready.
My wife deals with the same organization, Ronnie, that Joe has taken those wig stands to. We do quilts, or she does quilts. All I do is ride in the car. She does quilts for them. We'll go drop off 10 or 20 at a time. There's this thing with the medical complexes that they can't recycle those between patients. Once you give them that thing and it leaves with them, it is there. They really don't want it to come back. It's
right.
Especially now with the virus.
So what I'm doing, I'm stockpiling a few, and if she hollers, I can get them right over to her. So.
And we might be able to find another clinic, Ronnie.
Yeah, and my wife reminded me, not all cancer patients need a wig. It seems like what I'm learning about it. It seems like the new people, when they first start to undergo this, they lose their hair, but then they will, for the most part, get it back. So hopefully they can use these things for 6 months or a year and put them in the closet and never see them again, you know?
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully they didn't have them even the second time. So we got a couple of, I'm trying to read the chat as we go along, and that's not working with me. Because I'm really listening to Ronnie and the stuff about the wig stands. Somebody just popped up, I think it was David, said he had a wig stand he wanted to show us. He's our webmaster. David? You still there, David?
There we go. I hope you can see it there.
Pull it back towards you, sir.
There it is. Someplace.
There it is.
There it is.
Very nice, very nice.
Real
I don't
nice.
usually show anything, but I'm trying to do something for this, that's for sure.
It's
Very
really
good,
nice.
Dave.
Little faceplate, little spindle, little ball, everything all in one, huh?
There we go.
Looks good.
Hey, Eddie, you hooking him up with the cert?
And why? Oh, yeah, man, I'm glad you keep an eye on me. Goodness gracious. I have to go over here and get it.
Hey, Eddie, when you get done with that, I got something to add to that since you're done.
Okay, Brenda, I got to do David. And we're in there, and let me see if I can pop this on. If we go to that, there's David.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit crooked, but he's there. Brenda, what you got, lady?
Well, I've had a little trouble, with the lathe, it don't like me. So I think I would be able to make a wig stand. So what I did instead is Where'd I go?
I'll put you back.
There. I cut my hair off instead. I cut 10 inches off to donate to the Locks of Love.
That's a copycat thing. I did the same thing, Brenda.
Did you do it on the lathe?
Careful,
No, I
Brenda, your
didn't do it
hair
on the
look like
lathe.
Did
his.
you do it with the lathe, Brent?
No.
Still got plenty left.
Sounds like another.
Yeah, I still got a 14
Doesn't
inch
look like you cut
ponytail.
any. Wow.
I
That's
cut 10
something
inches
though.
off.
That's a
There-
very
there
nice
is-
move.
It'll go
It is-
to
I used to
Locks
Very
of
nice.
Love. And those wigs made, or they make wigs for 21 and under. So children basically. So
Yeah, there's another organization that actually does wigs too, because Locks of Love actually does charge, and they won't accept insurance for their wigs, unfortunately. At least this was like 8 years ago. So there
Oh,
is an
really?
organization that makes wigs, and it's out of everybody who makes them donates their time. So there's very little to no cost. And for the life of me, I can't remember because I got rid of all of the forms, when I quit doing hair. But just Google like other organizations that you can donate hair.
yeah, I Googled, but I
do
didn't say
research on Locks of Love because, like I said, it could have changed in 8 years, but they do charge a significant amount for their wigs. Locks of Love does.
Really?
And
I didn't see
so
anything on the website about
owner-
that.
Yeah, the owner of the salon we worked for, she had cancer, and when she went to go get a wig, she's a hairdresser, so she's, they charged a pretty penny, and it wasn't much different than going to, a specialty wig place or, and so it wasn't. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that just look into it.
Yeah,
There's other
I'll check into that.
that can do more.
I think Martin had it right. This is the resource. And that website Martin's developed is another one. So that's what we're trying to build up. Remember, if you have something to share, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to our website. David Rhodes is our website manager, and he does an awesome job of adding things. And right now, if you're turning wig stands, he wants to know what you're doing, what the numbers are. We're going to put that on there. We'll make everybody a wig stand warrior. It's all right with us. We have plenty of room on the website, plenty of room on the tailgates where I put it. And don't forget, we're still collecting Freedom Pens, folks. Freedom Pens are for our troops, thank you for their service and our protection. As I see it, they're going to pull the troops out of the Middle East and get them back home real soon. And that's great. We could give them some thank you presents when they get back. We really could. If you go to our website, there's a link right there on the front page, right about here. And it says to donate Freedom Pens. And that's where you go. And also that's where we get excerpts of our videos that include demonstrations. Dave breaks them out. So you just get the demonstration, like the one Matt did for us a couple of weeks ago on the water drops. Or I'm sorry, Doug Miller on the water spots. That's on the site if you want to look at it again. Ronnie's still playing with that. Now he's going to get off wig stands and get into putting decorative edges on bowls. All right. Anybody else? We got a few minutes, and then Trey Lennep's going to join us. He's got a demo lined up. I think he's got his cowboy hat on.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. I just want to make sure my audio was on.
Okay, we got you.
And the Lighthouse Wood Club, the local club here in South Mississippi, we've got hold of a organization called Pink Hearts Foundation, and they give wigs and prosthetics to ladies that have lost their hair from cancer. So we've got with them, and we're organized the club to continuously give them wig stands.
Very good. I'm proud of all of y'all.
So the last meeting, the club accepted as a sponsorship to go ahead and sponsor them and continuously give them wig stands. On the 22nd of this month, they have an event, and I think that's going to be our kickoff. Johnny and I are going to go over there and hand over a bunch of wig stands to them to get it started.
They have a walkathon and butterfly release and all that kind of stuff. So
That's cool. Well, speaking of Johnny, let's go to Johnny and see what he's got.
Johnny, you with us?
Try it again. That's not switching over.
Okay, let me see if I can get him. I'm looking for it right now. Johnny's up as co-host. No, I don't see him.
Yeah, I know.
Might have been on his end and he bumped out.
he was in, but if he's in his shop, it's sometimes flaky.
Yeah, it's clean but flaky. All right, Dane, we got a few minutes. You got somebody else that wanted to show? I saw it on chat, but I've closed it.
Yeah, let's go back to Brenda. She's got a few things to show.
Hey, Brenda.
You're back on, Brenda.
Brenda, chew.
Brenda.
I'm coming. The unmute button moved. Okay, so first I have this little bowl here. I made out of mulberry. And when I looked at it sitting on my dining room table, you know, Cade keeps calling this kind of a opening, you know, a bird mouth. Well, it looked like a bird nest to me. So I went out in the garage and got some shavings and put in it. And then one of my little eggs and made a bird nest.
That is nice.
That's cool.
Very good.
Nice presentation.
And then,
That's
Good idea.
Like a bass mouth.
what was that?
Looks like a bass mouth.
Oh, bass mouth.
Fish.
Then I made some
Corn dogs.
rippers,
Seam rippers.
seam rippers.
Seam rippers.
Seam ripper necklaces, magnetic. And these turned out real nice because I used the Parfex. Beautiful, shiny. Love that.
They look like corn dogs from here.
Then I made this little lidded box.
Get a snack,
Nice.
Ronnie.
Great thin wall.
Not bad. And I used my new tool that I got from Gary. That's
Is
not-
that the ball mill?
Yeah. Okay. Now the lidded box don't fit real tight, so it don't say on there, but it fits.
Is Gary on tonight?
Looks good to me.
And then
Yep, I'm on.
I'm still waiting on my tool.
but tell me why I was able to use that on this, but not on this one. See how deep I have went with this? That's all the farther I can get. And it flew off.
We're not allowed to say this, but
But
I would attack it with a gouge first. You know, like a fingernail gouge, and do some slicings on it.
Traditional
okay.
gouge.
And
That's what I would do. And not
bought
you
some
can't.
fingernail gouges, but they're the tip of it, you know, is like a U shape, and they're pointy up here. I don't know how to use them things. They keep catching.
Bowl gouge?
Yeah.
Show us pictures. It
When
shouldn't
we
have
go
a point. It shouldn't have a point on the end.
Well, I know, that's what I thought.
Brenda,
I bought a
when
set
we-
of 3 of them. They've all got like a point.
Brenda,
Yeah.
when we go to the next gallery items, can you run out your shop and bring those tools in and show us?
Okay. As a matter of fact, I do have one of my tools here. Tell me what this one is.
Spindle gouge.
Spindle gouge.
A what?
Spindle gouge.
Spindle
Continental
gouge.
spindle gouge.
I love
Old-fashioned
this tool.
spindle gouge.
I
Colonial.
love this
gouge.
tool. I'm able to
Spindle
slice
roughing
with this
gouge.
one.
That
Oh,
is
you-
actually a
Yeah.
continental spindle roughing gouge. They use that a lot in Europe.
Okay.
Whatever you do,
Yeah.
don't use that on a bowl.
Yeah, don't hollow
On
out.
the
with
end.
that.
Yeah.
That's just for
Yeah, I
spindle.
can't hollow anything out.
No, that's not right
I
on
can
a
do
bowl.
I'm able to, you know, slice with this one. This is actually the tool that broke in half flipped around and hit me in the hand. And I put it back in there. That's why it's crooked. But this is my favorite tool.
Yeah, that looks like a Craftsman, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. You might want to check your angle on that. It looks like it's a bit too acute. It might be a bit grabby for you because if you're not running the bevel on it, it might want to grab for you.
Yeah, it's more like a, it looks more like it's starting to get sharpened like a scraper versus a
okay, yeah.
spindle
Yeah.
gouge.
Yep.
It needs to be a little more
I run about a 40-degree angle on it. That one looks like it's about 20 or less.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And you can use that if you turn it on a bit on an angle while you're still using the bevel. It will actually work exactly like a skew, and you can get some really beautiful cuts with that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been doing. That's what I did the seam rippers with.
Yes.
Oh, they're nice. I like that. That's a good cut.
And I did hardly no sanding on those things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think your problem is the tool presentation, maybe how you're presenting the tool to the work, that you're not actually using the bevel. You have to remember where the bevel is aiming, that's where the tool is going. So if your bevel is not touching, it's gonna keep going in until it finds the bevel, then it will stop going in.
Okay.
Also, the way that the tang is bent would make it a false angle of presentation.
Right.
I mean, your arm motor, your motor action of your arm is not adjusting to the bend.
Yeah. Okay, I'll run out and get the other ones.
All right, thank you, Brenda. Henry Morgan's out there. He said he's got something to show. Henry? You got to talk, Henry. Oh, Rick Barnes is here. Oh, all right. Henry's not talking. Now he is.
There we go. Well, the weather's changed in Michigan, so I've been able to get out in my shop. It's in a garage with no heat, and I've been doing some boxes.
Hold them back towards you, sir.
Ready. Nice.
Real nice. What's the detail? What's the banding of the detail done? How you did it?
That's was it the Wagner texture tool? And then Tombow pen for the coloring of it.
Nice job, Henry.
Another little one, another one also. A little bit of texturing. It's all boxwood, but I didn't color this one. And then this is very interesting. Our good friend Alfred did a little get together with 7 of our club members to lecture and demonstrate using the Joe Sonia iridescent paints. And this is the result of that out of maple.
Nice.
Oh,
That's nice.
oh,
Nice
nice
job.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Real nice.
Hey, Alfred and Henry, can you guys please invite me to those?
That was kind of an impromptu, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
looking
like
at
the
your
way you finished that,
backdrop.
Henry. That came out beautiful.
Henry, I'm
Yeah.
looking at your backdrop. That's really cool. That fence and sticks and stuff. That's really
That's
neat.
in my dining room. So,
Henry, you need a teapot to go along with that bowl.
heck yeah. I got to figure out how to do them. I've only been turning not quite 2 years now.
Oh, you an old timer? You all right?
Yeah.
You got a good friend that'll show you how to do the teapot.
Oh yeah,
Henry-
Alfred. That's
Henry-
interesting. I have 2 of my mentors on this thing. One is Matt, my first workshop for our club. I took Matt for a goblet, came out fantastic. And then Alfred doesn't live too far away, and he's been giving me all kinds of tips. So I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Henry-
Henry, we're gonna get together and do some finials now.
Yes, I need to learn Alfred's approach to finials.
Yeah.
Henry is a superb carver. He's an amazing carver. If one of these days we should get him to show us some of his carvings.
Yes, I agree.
Well, we have in the newsletter this coming month, we'll have a base that Alfred did. It shocked me when I opened the photograph.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
You still got time, Eddie, or?
Yeah, we're gonna go 5 more minutes before we join Trey.
Okay, so let's go to Rick Barnes. Go ahead and start talking, Rick, while I'm looking for you.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
We got you now, Rick.
There you are. You was just there.
Okay. I finally got a little shop time this week and to join the wig stands. I got a half a dozen of them done for our local cancer program going on. We have a benefit auction coming up. So I've got some bowls in there and some wig stands, but most of these will be donated to the patients.
Good. All right.
Good. Great job.
Thank you. It's a fun project. The only problem is all the contractors in town that I've contacted, all they have is treated lumber. I don't think that'll work for wig stands, will it, Ronnie?
No, you want to stay away from the treated stuff.
Yeah. But the one contractor is doing an apartment here in town. They used all steel studs. They didn't use very many pieces of wood.
That's rough on your tools.
Yeah, it is. Hard to mount too.
I was going to say, let us see when you finish one of those steel wig stands.
Don't plan on it.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Give him a card. Give him a card, Dane.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right, you're in there.
Very good.
Who's up?
All right, Doug Miller is.
Hey guys, had a friend give me some cherry. I had asked because someone else had asked for a bowl of cherry, and so I got this log, and it was soaking wet, but it was so big and so thick that I thought, why waste it all? So I decided to core some. Well, I got half the log cored, and my first core, that's a 5.5 inch diameter core. That'll make just a nice little change bowl. But then there's a second bowl that runs, this one's 9.25 inch diameter, and that's getting more in the realm of what we like to turn. Just a nice bowl, not terribly deep, but it'll make a real nice bowl to sit around. But then the money bowl, and I got to be careful how I pick this one up. This booger is 12.75 inches. And it still probably weighs close to 20 pounds, even though the center's been taken out of it.
I love that center. Don't take too much of it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, I've gone almost as deep as I'm going to go. It's not going to go much deeper, but these walls are going to get much thinner after it dries. I don't have a moisture meter, but I'm guessing it's in the neighborhood of 25 to 30% at least. I've had it in some shavings until just 10 minutes ago. Pulled them out just to show you guys. So just wanted to show you that. And I did all that coring with the McNaughton system. It's probably the hardest system of the three that are out there to core, which brings me to a question that I've got. This is the blade that I used to do that coring with. But let me see if I can get it where you can. There we go.
Got it now.
This little tip right here is has been chipped. I guess in my last move a while back, it probably got dropped or something. But anyway, it's been chipped. And I remember a time, it's been a few years ago now, there was a lot of discussion whether this design, whether this pointed tip or a square tip was the better design. And I was wondering if anybody in this group remembers those discussions and what may have come up, what was the final decision on that, because it's going to have to be reground to fix that.
The one I built, I did it on an angle. I put it on a bias. It wasn't straight across. It was flat, but it was on a bias. And the leading tip, the outer tip, was cutter. And I built it out of a 6-inch tool steel grade pipe, and it would just slice right through something. It was beautiful.
That may be a good direction.
Doug, I had quite a conversation with Kelton about that a year or two ago, and when they originally came out, they were skewed. It was across, kind of an angle across, and that's mine are of that older generation. And then they started doing them like yours is, And
Okay.
supposedly they work a whole lot better ground the way yours is than the way mine is. But I've never used what you've got. So mine's just on a skew. They work, but they tell me that that angle works a lot better.
Okay. That makes sense. What Eddie says sounds good too, to have it on a pretty good bias there.
Yeah.
Careful saying I make sense now. That's not a good thing.
I know it's dangerous.
I know somebody was grinding them and putting replaceable tips on them too. I think the last guy I saw was Bill Grumbine had them. I don't know who made them for him, and I don't know if it's common out there. So
I brazed my tip on, and I'd never brazed before. I looked on YouTube and found out how to braze something. I had my tip that way, and you know, what's been 7 years ago, I had a stroke, and the family cleaned up behind the shop, and what they thought was all scrap metal went. It wasn't scrap metal. I'd worked a long time to get those pieces of pipe, and boy, they were hard to cut.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, while you're now, how about a safety minute before we start the demonstration?
Well, Eddie.
Hey.
I just went and grabbed some coring tools. If you spotlight me, I'll show you what I have.
Well, you got it, Bob. Let's talk again.
Okay. This is that's the one way.
Yep. That's what I was getting ready to show.
That's what a one-way bit looks like. Now, I have a couple McNultons. And that's what they look like. So they have it both ways.
The one on the left is what I did mine.
Yeah, the one on the left is the older version that they put out, and the one on the right's the newer one.
Yeah, I think the one on the left I have is a big set, but the one on the right's the newer set, the newer design.
And Kelton advised me to go ahead and grind mine to the newer version, but you know, it works fine, so I never did. And there's one thing about it: if you have a question about that and you send him an email, do not be surprised when you get a phone call.
Oh, that's what those companies. I mean, it's not a catalog service. It's people.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I didn't know anything about it when I first got that set, and called to ask about getting a part, or sent an email about getting a part, and he called me.
Love dealing with folks that do that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Great. And I've told the story about rebuilding my controller, and I stayed on the phone with the guy who created them at One Way. Stayed on the phone with him while I redid the wiring.
Yeah, they'll call you back in person too.
Yeah, it's just some of these folks realize they're dealing with turners, not customers, turners. All right. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate that. Come back to you in 1 minute. We're going to pop in and get our safety minute from Jeff, and we catch that, and then we'll start the demonstration. Jeff, let's go. You're on.
Hey, everybody. All right. Hey, all right. Sharpening tool rests. See a lot of people sharpening the old tool rests for the file and stuff. Be careful. They are sharp. People are getting nicked and cut on them. So, so one thing to be wary of. Also, when sanding, protect your lungs, dust mask, vacuum, make sure you got things going to keep that dust away from you. You see a lot of these guys more and more will be sanding underneath, underneath. So the dust is going back in front of the lathe to a dust extractor. Andrew Hall was doing a demo, and he shows that he's got these welding magnets. They're articulating that a couple magnets with a bungee cord around it holding his dust extractor right there. I thought that was a great idea, because that's nothing worse trying to figure out how to hold something there sometimes. Protect your eyes when you're applying finishes. That thing's going to spit, especially you got that glue. You don't want to do that. And I'm watching somebody doing a demo today, holding stuff on a drill press. Use clamps. Use the correct stuff. You only got a couple fingers, and you get ripped up by a drill press, something spinning around. It's not going to be funny. If you're lucky, you'll keep your fingers. So take care. Be safe out there. May the bevel be with you.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. And it's such great.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's like it's time for our demonstration. We're going to go to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Trey Lennep is with us, and he's going to do a demonstration for us today. And I'm trying to find him up. He is talking. You got him?
Okay, you got it?
Yeah. All right, Trey, we're on. You're on.
Okay. I've started turning a few of these, but the main thing I wanted to talk about tonight was there's been a lot of really good. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just switched mics is the reason why I asked. I want to talk about how I hold them and some of the critical things back and forth, because I've seen a lot of different ways of people doing it. And I want to spend about 10 or 15 minutes doing that. Plus I have one tool that I use to put my tenants on that's a little different. The first thing I wound up doing, I take a template, draw it.
Now, it could be a piece of masonite. Doesn't have to be metal.
Could be a piece of masonite. And I have a hole marked in the center of it. Take that to my bandsaw and cut it out. That's the way I start. Now, several people have been doing things differently. Some people have been putting it between centers. The only problem with it, let me shift the camera. The only problem with it, if you put it between centers, is that if you don't line those two centers perfectly, you'll get a wobble on this. You can cut the wobble out, but you lose thickness of your material, especially if you're only starting out with something that's an inch and a half. Another group of people I've seen have actually gone through, they have pre-drilled them. Now let me switch. And the chuck I'm using is a little talent chuck with a step jaw on it, and it goes down to 7/8. So I'm using a 1-inch hole. But the problem with this is when you put this on here, and then start spinning it around,
Still got a wobble.
it's got a significant wobble on it. And the problem with it is that wobble is very, very critical, because your hole that you drill for your spindle and the tenet you put on here need to match. If they don't, that will put your spindle and make your wig stand up, crazy instead of being straight. That Johnny Hughes told me one thing that he does that helps reduce that. He puts a cone chuck in his in a center.
Hey, Trey?
Yes.
After you finish this part, I want to stop and suggest something.
Okay. And well, I don't do this, but okay. And that will get rid of most of the wobble and stabilize it better.
Yeah, we're seeing a flash, not necessarily a wobble.
Trey?
Yes.
Unloosen your chuck.
Okay.
Take the cone off the live center.
Okay.
Turn that piece of wood around after you get the cone off the live center.
Okay.
I only flip mine one time.
Okay. Well, let me go through my process. What I'm showing you is not what I do.
Okay.
Okay. Let me go through the process, and then we can adjust. We can adjust from there.
That's what we're supposed to do.
What I wound up working out and doing. I drill it on the lathe. I don't drill it on a drill press. Okay, now I'm gonna use a robust live center, and what I found that I like on it versus the one way, I can adjust how deep that point is. The one way and the others and the Powermatic are all fixed on how deep that point goes, and the point sticks out. So if you're in harder wood, I can put the point back some. In this case, I need to conserve thickness of the wood, so I actually have my point stuck further back. And I'm just going to come up here, put that in the center.
Your hat's in the way, Trey.
But we'll get rid of it. It's an Aussie hat. I just thought I'd wear it for our Aussie friends. So,
All right, Donald, you see that? Did a little something special for you.
yeah, a little something special. This is a kangaroo hat, crushable kangaroo hat from Australia that I got when I was there. Came with a bag.
Oh, I put my Stenson on just for you then.
Cool.
Is it a kangaroo bag?
No, it wasn't.
A kangaroo pouch?
Sure, it wasn't a pouch instead of a bag.
Okay, all right.
Now,
Let's go back to the demo.
On the drive side, all I have is it pushed against the jaws of the chuck.
Yep.
That keeps it straight. So what I'll do with this is I'm gonna cut a tenon. Now my chuck is a dovetail chuck, and I'll cut the tenon there. And this is my tenon cutter. It's a homemade tool, and I ground the end of it at an angle here, and it's also background at an angle there. And what that does, that allows me to cut an inside or outside tenon. So okay, that's my tenon for my top. I do the bottom very similar, except for I'm going to do an expanding tenon on this one. Oh, well, I guess I do need to tie this down. And using this tool, I can come in here even with the tail line. And this tool allows me to cut those tenons with the live center in place. And it's nothing more than a piece of tool steel that's been sharpened on the end of it. It's an 8-inch piece of tool steel that's 5-quarter tool steel.
And that undercut gives you the relief you want for those jaws to come into.
Yeah, and all my jaws are dovetail. So this side here cuts the expanding. This side here cuts a contraction on it. And as I say, it gives me, I have the, since it's at an angle, I can get in here with the live center in place.
This will be some 5-quarter tool steel. Somebody in the club will look that up, throw it in the chat in a minute. Oh, Kim's out there. She's normally pretty quick at that.
I'm stuffing my face. I'm so sorry.
No pressure. No pressure.
Okay. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the hole.
Now that's the base you're dealing with there.
This is the base. It was just the quickest one I had to grab. This is the base. I've chucked it up again and an expanding chuck on it.
Also known as a mortise.
And I just drill into this point right here. That's the depth I do. This is a 1-inch bit. Now, I'm not going to do this right now, but what I would do from here is I would go ahead and finish this out. I would hollow this down here on both sides, put any decorative things on it, and round it off completely. But for this demo, I'm not doing it. This demo is concentrating on holding.
If you can hold it, you can turn it.
And there's a lot of people that have done demos on the on turning that have done an excellent job. So that's not what I'm trying to do. Okay, this one's the top. And I'm doing almost exactly the same thing, except for its compression instead of expansion. It's seated in there.
Do we have any new turners that need that explained, compression to expansion? Okay, there could be a test later.
Now I have both sides. And this hole lines up with the tenon. It's in alignment with the tenon without me having to do anything special because it was turned with the tenon in place.
So right now your piece is running true.
It runs true. The tenon and the hole run true. So the spindle will sit straight in it.
Mike says he has no problem failing tests. He's got it locked in.
Okay, now I switch back to the other. Again, I'm not going to turn everything, but I come in with, where did I set it? Don't try to catch it with my toe. With my live center. Now, if I just try to put this on this way, I'm gonna have alignment problems. But I have a center mark on here from when I did it before. That allows me to put it back dead center.
And do a test spin before you tighten it, right?
Yep, before I tighten it. Because I've already finished this other side out, if you remember. Now, from here, I can go ahead and do my turning and go ahead and turn it. Cut the shape, pull this back and finish the top of it and everything else, and I'm through with it. On the bottom, I do almost exactly the same thing. In fact, I'm going to chuck it exactly the same way, bringing the tailstock up. That aligns it. Expand into it. And then I'll come back and turn this side here to put an undercut on it. I'll come back, I'll do an initial cut here and then remove this and do my final cut through the center. And that's how I hold it.
And as Trey said, that's one of many techniques to do it.
There's lots of ways of doing it. This way seemed pretty quick and easy to me.
Somebody showed me one the other day on the internet where they used their Longworth type chuck from Ron Brown's Best. And they did squeezings. And they turned it all with holding it on the outside and cutting the squeezings on it. And it came out nice. It was just a lot of moving, but maybe they didn't have any other chuck.
Yep.
Hey, Trey?
Yes.
You want to see a different way now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have
that's what we're doing. We're just introducing different ways of doing this.
Okay. Show us a round piece of wood with just a hole in it.
What he just had, right?
This is going to be as close as I get to it because I already have I already have this on the other side.
Okay, that's fine. Now those pin jaws you have right there,
Yep.
open them up all the way. No, take that off. Take that off. Open them up all the way. All the way. Open them up.
Well, for y'all bit of study, this might be a test item.
I was never good on tests either.
Okay.
Okay, now on your tailstock, put that one-way live center back in there with no cone on the end.
But that's his,
Over one.
not his one way, his other one.
That's
Robust.
all right. There's, okay, I got a one way in there. Okay.
Now bring up your tailstock, put that piece of wood with the hole in it towards the tailstock, and that pin's gonna line up on that hole that you drilled with your Forstner bit. Put it up against that chuck.
I really ought to use a different chuck, but that's fine.
No,
Okay.
That's fine. At this point, you're only gonna turn it one time. What I do at this point, I turn it round first. And then
Okay.
on the tailstock side is either gonna be the underside of the dome at the top, or it's gonna be the upside of the bottom part.
Okay.
So what I do is after I turn it round, I back off that edge towards the live center a ½ inch. And then I proceed to cut out with that little #1 hollower that Easy Wood Tools has. I cut from that ½ inch from the outside, and I make a cove all the way over to the live center, and I'm leaving that about maybe 3/8 of an inch thick.
So you're coming in here and cutting your recess in here.
Right.
And you said you use the Easy Wood, so you're using the just a carbide scraper.
Right. And then after I cut that out, then I take a little narrow scraper, round nose scraper, and I smooth it out.
Okay.
At that point, I sand whatever I'm a sand to. I've been sanding these to 600. I sand that and get that all smooth. At this point,
You're just hand sanding, I assume then. So not power sanding, because you can't get a power sander in there.
right? Yeah. It's on the lathe, and you're holding the sandpaper in your hand, sanding it.
Okay.
After you finish that, back off your tailstock, turn it around, and put it on those pin jaws, and you're either doing the top of the dome or you're doing the underside of the bottom. And you do the same thing, and you completely finish. You only flip it one time.
Now, the problem is, okay, I've got this, and this side's finished, and I turn it back around here and do the pin jaw to do the bottom. What keeps my alignment straight on that, and this on the bottom?
It's not going to turn exactly true, but it don't make any difference. You're not going to see it, because what you're going to do, either the dome, after you turn the dome, or after you turn the bottom, it straightens itself out and you don't see anything.
Well, the dome, I understand, because if it's crooked, it won't make any difference. You can't see it.
Hey, Ronnie, you want to do a demo next week?
But the bottom, when I come here on the pin jaw on the bottom, if it's crooked a little bit, it may make the whole thing stand a little crooked.
No, it don't.
Hey, Ronnie, how about doing a demo next week?
I don't have
Love
all
it.
the cameras.
I think we can work that out, Ronnie.
Well, that's up to you, but it's what I'm saying. I've seen everybody do it, and what we've heard for years and years, everybody does something different, but we all get to the same finishing point.
Absolutely.
this is just a simple and easy way that you only flip it one time. There's no tenons, there's no recesses or nothing. The secret is you drill your hole 1 inch, but you only drill it 3/4 of an inch deep. If you drill it any deeper than 3/4, well, the wood's going to bottom out on that live center. And you don't want that to happen.
Hey, Ronnie.
That is because I made that mistake.
Hey, Ronnie. What would happen if you chucked up a piece of stock when you flipped it around and put it in the tenon? That would straighten it out.
I didn't catch that.
It's a dead. He's creating a dead man to align it.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
You're gonna put a piece of stock in your jaws. And you turn a piece of stock down to the tenon that you want on your riser. I'm called riser. And then when you push your piece against that riser, it will automatically align that riser to the face of the piece. Correct, Neil?
You're talking about jam chuck. You're talking about jam chucking it, right?
Jam chuck. I call it a dead man. Jam chuck. Pardon me.
The only problem with the jam chuck is I'm not sure it's firm enough to hold this when you're turning it, because you have to finish turning the top and bottom.
What if it was a taper?
Here's another idea. Once you flip it to way it is now, if you're worried about it not running true, put that cone back on the tailstock and bring that cone up. And
the cone would center it.
Right.
If you put the cone on and do it.
And you only need the cone to align it. Once you have it tight, it's not going to move on you.
There is one significant difference. I don't own a scraper, an easy wood scraper. I don't own any of those.
That's not a problem.
I did my turning with. I did my turning with a ball gouge.
I have a good friend of mine that sells carbide tools.
No, but look, I sell as many as anybody else. They're not that critical. I do, like Trey does, I do my best work with pure carbon tools. I love them. And when you said you use a scraper, I got a dozen different shapes of scrapers. When people throw tools away, I'm glad to grab them because I'll modify them into something like that little rig that Trey showed us about doing that tenon. Mine is done a little bit different, but guess what, Trey? When I'm back out in the shop again, I'm making that.
Yeah, you can take any square tool and make it. You know, a beading parting tool or whatever. You can take any of that and make that, and it's great for putting that tenon on and still having your tailstock in place. Even on balls, you're doing balls and everything else. It's the same way.
Yeah, it works.
Hello, could I say something?
Go ahead.
Sure. We hear you.
All right, this is Dave from Michigan. I have been watching here, and I feel that I have an idea. Maybe if you take and put a screw chuck on your part, that will align it, be squared to your chuck. And then you finish the bottom side, and then when you drill your hole for your spindle, don't drill it to an inch. You drill it to a 5/8. I drilled it to a 5/8, and you just take and drill it down through there, and then you put it on the jam chuck on the other side to finish off the other side. But I don't have to do that because the fact is that on the bottom, later on, I might have to put it into on the bottom part. Well, I'll show you. Like the bottom here, I have a recess that I had put on the bottom for another chuck to expand, to hold the back, to finish, so you can finish the other part.
You understand? On both sides, you don't have to flip flop it so many times. You don't have to realign yourself if you have this in your chuck.
It's a nice
So-
idea.
So you're putting that the same place I put the 1-inch hole in.
Yeah, but you don't have to drill it to a 1-inch. You can drill it to a 5/8, and you have a regular 5/8 drill, or you can put it into a jam chuck later on if you have to for the tops to do the dome, and then you can still put the dome right here on this chuck here to reline it.
That's a great idea. Here's the beauty of what we're doing here, folks. We're throwing so many different options on doing this that no matter what tools you have, no matter how you go about this, we're giving you options. So if you don't have that chuck with the spigot jaws, or that chuck with the oversized jaws, or that cone face, or that tailstock that doesn't have a pin in it, or, we're giving you the options of what you do have to make this work. And guess what? That's why this where this club came from, to get those options and spread them around. Because right now watching it, I know how to hold those pieces. I know how to cut those pieces. I've got gizmos and gadgets and wooden jaws that'll hold stuff. And because I did bracelets and all. And I kind of go back to what I was doing. So if I go back to what I was doing, it works out for me. Hey, straight up. But if I hear your options and understand how you would go about this, then I might change my methods. That's what you got to keep in mind here. It's no set rule. Like you got to use Bob's tool to do this, or you got to use this to do that. You don't gotta, right? Remember? Alrighty.
Now, the only advantage of the robust live center is that because I'm starting with 1.5 inch material, I don't want to lose too much more on the top. Bottom's not a problem with the recess. The one-way live center, any live center will work on it. You just lose a little bit more material thickness of the top, and that's it.
You know what? If you use
no big deal.
If you use a shim face on that between the screw part and the bearing part, if you use and you go get an ASE washer at the auto parts store to give you a shim face, that would hold that out a little bit to accomplish what you're accomplishing with the other one. I got nothing against robust tools, but hey, remember, got to stay, everybody.
I use a washer too.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that?
No, sir, you can't, John.
All right, I'll just keep my mouth shut then.
What do you have, John?
I put a small waste block on the what's going to be the bottom, because you've got to finish the bottom off a little bit anyway to make it a little bit recessed in the middle, and you don't waste any depth on it at all. Glue a small waste block on it.
And when you flip it around, you eliminate the waste block and develop your bottom.
Yes.
See?
Cut your tenon in it. Cut a tenon on it, on the waste block for your jaws to compress on it. I drill a hole in the top side or the bottom side of the lid on the top, and the other side I put a waste block on it.
Great, thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Worked great.
More and more ideas coming your way.
Yeah,
it's 1/4 the hour, yes, sir, John. No, I'm sorry.
I said it worked. It worked really good, and I don't have a lot of special tools to do it, and I just thought of that, a waste block on there, and you don't waste any thickness on the
special tools are really not critical. It's learning how to use your tools that's critical.
Yeah.
Right. I promised y'all 2 demonstrations I don't, because Matt jumped in and said he's got something he wants to do with this evening. Matt, are you ready to rock and roll?
Matt. Yeah. Let me get cleaned up here and change back to that.
5?
What's that?
You want 5 minutes?
No. I can talk the whole time.
Okay.
Okay. This is a 3-corner bowl demonstration. Let me switch to this here and go to my overhead, which is this camera. Okay. These bowls start off with a cube. Okay, they start off with a cube. Looks like this. Okay.
Now point out that the cube has to be a cube.
Yeah, it's this is about 3.5 inches aside. It's a little small. 4 inches aside is better. 6 inches gives you a lot to play with. The goal is to turn something that looks like this. All right, this is why they call it a 3-point or a 3-corner bowl. It's a bowl. This is the standard way to do it. You could also get creative and add a pedestal bottom to it, like I've done with this piece here. One of the things, this is an old piece of spalted box elder, and one of the problems you have to worry about is you have to worry about losing one of the corners. Okay, I got this kind of thin, and I dropped it, and I chipped off one of the corners of it. So you've got to be careful about this. Now,
dropped it. I believe the Band-Aid's under that glove.
Yeah. No, I got nothing under this, man. I'm clean today. No
All right.
Brenda's Band-Aid club for me. I don't know if and some of y'all were on my Facebook earlier today and you saw the fun and games I was having. I did a test piece this afternoon and shredded it. So so this is one of the possibilities.
Whoa.
Let's see, I had another block here I wanted to show, but I'll do it on this feet. Okay. So the way you're going to mount this is you're going to mount it between centers like this, okay, between corners that are diagonal to each other. All right. And let me switch over to my little, to this here and show you. So these are all pieces that I've done. The piece on the right with the curved edges, this was literally the first one of these I ever did. Okay. And when I was doing this, I didn't understand exactly how the dynamic of this worked. And I started rounding it, and before I realized it, I'd rounded the corners where I didn't want to. So I had to improvise. So this shows basically how you start it and where you're ending it. Okay, you're mounting it between diagonal corners. So I'm not going to show this mounting because I have a better way to do it. But your goal is to make a tenon so you can hold it in your jawed chuck. So that's why you're mounting it this way. Okay. Any questions so far?
You showed us a spur chuck a minute ago. Is that where we're heading back to?
No, that's what I'm taking out.
Ah, okay. You really had me going.
I was doing something else.
Matt, when you say cube, does it have to be perfectly a cube?
If it's not, you're going to have uneven edges. Okay.
Thanks.
Your corners and stuff will be uneven. You might be able to salvage it, but it works better if it's a perfectly even cube.
I brought that up because I discovered that a long time ago and couldn't figure out what was happening.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I've done is I'm not able to get these things perfect on the table saw, so I then take them on my band sander and get the blanks trued up that way. And they're still not quite perfect, so we'll see how this shows up. All right, so these are some of my notes on this. The project involves turning in midair. Basically, for at least half of the top of the bowl, you're going to be partly on the wood and partly on the air. So you've got to be very careful about where your bevel is and where your tools are and where your fingers are. So you can't ride the bevel, because if you do, you'll knock your edges off. Okay. And then the next admonition is to be careful to sharply define your corners and be careful not to chip those corners away. So I'm going to switch over to this camera here and show you a little bit on this and do a little sketching first. Okay. I'm holding this between these two corners. So my bowl, let me switch it to this side here because it's easier. So my bowl is going to be here. My bowl edges are going to be here on these faces. Can you guys see this? Not
Yes.
very well. Okay.
Nope. There you go. There you go. Right
Okay.
there.
So this is where, now one of the things I want to point out here is this face that is on the edge is flat. It's flat on it's a flat face on the cube. So when you're all done, you can do things like take a flat sander, or, you know, I've got it like, this is the piece in here. I could take a flat sander. This edge here is flat. If I want to true up my corners or clean up this edge, I can do it with something flat. The edges are all part of Face Cube, so you can do that. Okay. Questions about that?
No, I found that when I want to flatten it out, I just spray glue a piece of sandpaper to my table saw top.
That seems like a lot of extra work.
Oh, hey, it's dead true.
I have my Harber Freight hand sander that I use. I just buzz it sucker off. Okay, so what I'm going to use to mount these is I have a pair of rubber Chucky 3-point, he calls them 3-point Chucky sets, and that's the last bullet point on this page here. Okay, this is the rubber Chucky 3-point set. Okay, there are 2 of these. Let me switch back to this. There's 2 of these. They look like this. Okay, and I've got one mounted on the rubber Chucky mandrel, which is basically a number 2 MT, and that's going in my headstock. And I've got the other one mounted on the inside of this is a 3/4 by 10 thread. So I've got it mounted on my live center. Okay. And that's going in my tailstock. So, and here I've got a piece of a cube of what looks like spalted sycamore. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tenon. I'm going to do it on this side. And so I'm going to pick my stuff accordingly. And one of the things I think that these are the safest way to mount these if you're going to do these, because they hold them better than everything else. Now, one of the things you'll notice if you look closely at this one is it's a little shredded. I've done this a lot. I've taught this class at places. And these things you can, if you're not careful, you can break them. So be careful. Joaquin can testify to that. Can't you, Joaquin?
Joaquin's read a story about that, right?
Most definitely, I can back that up.
Yeah, I know he broke at least one of them. So, now, the way that Don at Rubber Chucky makes these is this is basically my minimum tenon size. And if you look at my little thing here on the back of my lathe, it's pretty much the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as my measuring yardstick when I turn my tenon. So, and I've got to carefully position my tool rest here because I've got to make sure that I'm not hitting anything with this when I do it. Okay. Now I'm going to turn a tenon to hold it here. And then I want to leave enough room here to undercut this because I don't want the rest of this cube in the way when I mount it in my 4-jawed chuck. Okay. Any questions about this so far?
Oh, I got to see what you're talking about to keep talking.
Yes.
Before you go any further, would you be able to talk through how you would mount that if you didn't have the rubber Chuckies?
Yeah, this was the first picture on this. Let me switch over to this here on this. You see the number 1 mounting? I'm basically mounting it directly in my spindle.
Right.
And I've taken the center out of what this is a cone or a disc on the tailstock. I've taken the center out and it's just the disc and I'm holding it there. So I'm basically holding it just in my spindle, on the inside of my spindle with nothing else there. And on the cone, or I don't know if you call it a disc or whatever, on the live center. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. I saw this.
What's that?
Thank you. I just wanted you to explain that for those that don't have rubber Chuckies or haven't done a cube bowl like that before.
Yep. One of the ways you can do this, and one of the ways I started doing this, is I was pushing it into my jawed chuck, which was an imperfect way of holding it. The spindle actually works better. Let me switch back to this.
Number 1 is how I do it.
The spindle works better. And what I would do is I would take this, I would very carefully try to get a very good cut and cut this bit off and then put it into my stub center here.
Right.
So, but that's an imperfect way to hold it also. It wasn't always coming out true. Okay.
And I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure, Ronnie.
the rubber chucky on the tailstock side, did you have to modify that, or did that come with that 3/4 tin thread on it?
No, I did not modify it. It comes that way.
Okay.
Don makes most of his things with the 3/4 by 10 thread on the inside, and he also usually there's a tenon on them that'll fit in the standard jaws for either the Vicmark or the like the 55 millimeter jaws from the Novas. So almost all of his chuckies have both the thread in them and a tenon, so you can do it either way. Okay.
Are they hard or are they rubbery?
Good, thank you, Matt.
These are not the same softer material that his original chuckies are. These are a little more rigid, and the reason why he did that is so that they hold the piece better, and they do. They hold it really well.
If they weren't firmer, they would vibrate.
Yeah, or you'd get you'd get vibration and things would be bad.
Birdwood.
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna helmet up here.
I think this is kind of cheating though, isn't it? Makes it easy.
There is no cheating. There's doing it well and doing it faster, and that's it.
One thing, Matt, is if you're doing it the other way on your spindles, you need to put a mark on your tool rest to make sure all 3 corners meet that point, or it'll be cockeyed. I know you've discovered that.
Yep. Yeah.
Especially if you're not in the rubber chuckies.
Yeah, if you're doing it in an imperfect way, if you're doing it like, yeah, I mean, you can see, I mean, I could point it here. So my corner's lighting up there, my corner, they're all in the same place.
Yeah, on the rubber chuckies they are, but when you do them in the spindles, a lot of times they, push them off. You got to hammer it around till you get it that way.
Yep, you do have to. Yeah, there is some. Yeah, there is some contortion
wanted to make
necessary.
that point.
Yep.
Yeah, I put some super glue on the ends when you were just going to use your spindles, not the rubber ducky, to help firm up that end.
Now I'm just using a skew, and I'm using it like a scraper. And I'm using this as my tenon size. And now that I've got it where I want it, I'm going to check it. This is not much of a tenon. I want to make it a little longer, a little more to grab onto. So I'm going to take it in another 1/4 inch or so. And then I'm going to basically part this off here. And the reason I do that is because this stuff that's sitting on the end here, okay, that'll interfere with chucking it up. Questions?
I just got one comment about you wearing a glove, and for the new people out there,
I have a medical issue with my hand. That's the reason why I wear a glove on the left hand. I wear a mechanic's glove, so it's tight fitting and there's no loose things. And I'm always very careful about where I put my hand, making sure that it's never anywhere near the spinning material.
Thank you.
I thought he did it to hide the Band-Aids.
Yeah. So that's all these rubber chuckies are used for, is to get your tenon so you can hold on to it better. So this is my tenon, okay? It's not 100%, so you've got to be careful how you when you're mounting it in your chuck that you get a good purchase on it.
I may be asking this early, but when you're lining this up, would the rubber chucky help you bring it up the line?
Yeah, the rubber chucky it's a precision. It gives you a precision line. If your cube is perfectly square or really close, it gives you near perfect the way it holds it. Because the ends here are very precisely cut in these, okay, to hold the cube perfectly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what I was referring to is why you're putting it in this chuck. If you use the rubber chucky for an alignment tool from the tailstock, would that?
Well, you can. I can show that to you how that works if you'd like to see it really quick.
And I mean, if for new turners that may be worried about this alignment.
It lines up perfectly. I didn't have to do anything.
There you go.
So that the rubber chuckies, using the rubber chuckies really helps line it up precisely. Now, one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure that this is good and tight. And then I'm going to turn this bit of it off, okay, so that I can bring up tailstock support. So now, there are two cuts that I'm using when I do this. You can't really ride the bevel when you're turning here. Let me zoom in on this. I can't ride the bevel but I can have my bevel very close to where my edge is when I'm going through the center of the bowl, so that I can help line that up. And I can't ride the bevel until I'm fully inside the wood, until I don't have any more air that I'm cutting. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down here on the bottom of the tool, on the bottom of the front of the tool, the bottom flute, and I'm going to cut in a sort of shearing manner, and I'm going to take very light cuts so I don't pop this out of the chuck. And I'm going to take very light cuts until I've got enough space to bring up my tailstock support. Now, the other cut I can make is I will make a pull cut this way. And the tool is not straight this way, so I'm not scraping. It's rolled a little bit up this way, okay? And when I'm doing that, I'm also cutting down here on the very end of the tool, all right? And I'm doing that so I get a shear cut. And when I get to this, the edge of this, make my cut very soft so that I don't break things off. So the first thing I'm going to do is to cut off this so I can bring up tailstock support, okay?
Somebody said cheating a little while ago. Here's the cheating. Here it is.
Cheating.
Use this tools for the best finish. It's going to get rid of the vibration right here.
I was just thinking of turning another tenon on that piece and then slicing the whole top off with a parting tool and using that as another cap or something.
Well, you could. I mean, there's a lot of waste here.
If you're doing this out of a burl and stuff, I guess you got to be careful because you never know what's inside it.
Yep, I probably have enough here. One of the things too that you can run into is because the grain is not necessarily on this piece, the grain is not necessarily conducive, is you could easily, where this, see, I've got straight grain here along this piece here. If I hit this wrong with the tool, I could chip off this entire corner, okay? I could just chip that thing right off if I'm not careful. And I want this corner to be square here, because this is where my bowl is going to be. Because in order to maintain this square edge here, okay, the sharp edge, sharp corner, so it looks aesthetically pleasing, I don't want to chip off this piece if I can help it. So I'm gonna try to make my cuts to go in here and keep that from happening. If I'm coming this way along cutting, it's very easy to just split this corner right off the piece. All right, so now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to get this sort of profile. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to try and get this sort of profile. I don't have a whole lot of wood to work on. I've got to make sure I've got enough to undercut my base here. So it's probably, maybe it'll be this big. I don't know. We'll see. And it can get tricky when you get down inside, this part of it here, because you don't have a lot of room to work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the outside of the bowl, and I'm going to cut in like this to where the bowl's going to be. So I've got to watch my corners here, and don't go past this section here. Now, watch what happens when I turn it on. Can you see the profile here? Let me get my little black cheat sheet here. See what I'm looking at here, okay? This corner here is my corner. Most of this is going to go away. I'm going to be moving like this in this direction to get to my bowl edge, but I don't want to go past this corner, or at least not by much, okay? So let me reposition my tool rest here so I can get in there. And always, especially with this piece, because you've got a lot of air, always spin it to make sure that you're not hitting anything before you start the lathe up.
Alfred's turn is make note. He stopped his lathe before he moved that tool rest.
Yeah, no, I don't usually do that, but on this piece, you got to make sure. Now I've dropped my tool handle, so the edge of my tool is raised. And what this is doing is giving me a very light shearing cut, and I'm watching on the, let me see if I can shift this here. So I can see everything and back this off a little bit. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm watching the shadow on this side of the piece when I'm cutting, okay? I'm watching my shadow over here, and that's where my bowl profile is, okay? So I can see that I've got a high spot there. So I'm going to try and clean that up. And I've got my tool handle dropped, and my tool edge is therefore raised, giving me a shearing cut or a shearing scrape, mostly a shearing cut. Okay, now I'm all the way into the wood. And the goal is that I don't want to come back to this when I'm inside, because I don't want to have to, it'll be thin and it'll be unsupported. Okay. So here's where I am now. Now you can see how it's taking shape, and it's very close to my pencil mark that I was trying to show you. And you can see how it's sort of chipping out along the grain. The grain runs this way along the piece, and it's chipping out this way. So I've already lost some of my edge here, which isn't very fun, but maybe I can clean it up. Maybe if I go a little deeper or something, I can clean it up. But it's pretty wood. Okay, now another thing you'll notice is that here I am all the way into the wood now here, okay? So maybe at this point what I'm going to try to do is to finalize this bit of it, and then I'll go and hollow out the bowl. And I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Now, when you're turning air like this, speed is your friend. And what I'm doing is I'm following the arc of the tool in here. I'm not riding the bevel. I can ride the bevel when I get down in here when I'm totally in the wood, but I can't do that when I'm in the air.
If someone were to ask me why speed's your friends, think about if it's going bump, 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 or drrrr, that's the difference.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
And we have more of those sound effects coming later.
True story. Okay, so I'm happy with my curve here. Well, not totally happy, but it'll do for a demonstration. So now I'm going to go after my bowl here. So this is my profile. I'm going to now work to. I'm first going to get the meat out here, and then I'm going to get closer and closer to the edge. Once I get this part of the edge, I don't want to come back to the edge. I want to work in. So you'll see I'm going to hog a bit in the middle, and then when I start coming out this way, I'm going to make my cuts like this. Okay, and as I get to the edge, they'll be very, very light cuts. So again, adjust my tool rest. So I'm
yeah,
here.
while he's at this point, consider that you could make this a 3-sided box.
Yep.
But what just as it's sitting right now, draw across his put the wings in, and then put a bump in the middle, and that would be a box. I've turned those before, and they're really cool to demonstrate like he's doing right now. Somebody said this is the best show in town. Hey, folks, this is the best free show in town. Now, that's this town. If we go to Canada, we have to put it up against Cade's work, and well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Best show in the world, Eddie. Best show in the world. Now, this is what I call a blending cut, where I'm taking a very, very light shearing cut across these little bits here, because I don't want to put any pressure on them, because I'll just break them off.
So the shearing cut, you're putting the flute almost vertical.
Yeah, what I've done is I've dropped my tool handle and raised my tool edge up. And I'm also, let me switch to this other here. Let me switch to the end camera here, and zoom in on it. Okay, I have lost a bit of the end, a bit of one of the corners here. Okay, so what I've done, so if I'm to go, my tool rest is a little high right now. Okay, it's above center. So if I'm to go straight in, then I'm getting a straight scrape. Okay, drop it here like this. Then I'm getting a scrape with my tool edge. If I drop my tool handle, the edge I'm cutting or scraping with rises, and then I can roll a tool up here, and the spinning wood is coming into the tool like this at a shearing angle. Any questions on that?
Good explanation. Thank you.
Okay. Now, one of the other things I'm looking at here, now that the lathe is stopped, also, is I see that I've got a specific thickness out here, but it's thicker in here. So I know that I've got to take this edge down here a little bit more to make this thickness of this wall consistent.
Well, you're right there with that profile. I was talking about making a box out of it. See the spike, the piece in the middle? If you domed that over, my pencil won't reach it. If you dome that over.
If you came across it like this and domed it over like that, you could have a box top.
Yes, sir, you do. And a grain match would be perfect.
Yep. So when I can see here that where I'm a little too thick, right through this part here. So you can hear how my cut changes to a lighter cut when I get there.
What kind of wood is that, Matt?
I believe this is sycamore.
A nice,
Had beautiful grain to it.
cutting real nice. Got a course sharp tools now.
Yeah. Rule number one is when you're doing a demo is sharpen your tools right before. Even if you think your tools are sharp, sharpen them anyway.
I think that's rule number 2. Rule number 1 is know how to use your tools, and you do.
Thank you. Now where I am inside here. Okay, let me go back to this view. I said go back to this view. Okay, once I'm in past here, once I'm in past this point on the piece, I'm totally in wood, so I can begin riding the bevel in here. But I've got to make really sure that that's where I am, and that's what I'm doing. If I try to ride the bevel and I hit air, my tool's going to bounce and shatter my piece or tear it up. Okay? So in here, and you can see, down in here, I can ride the bevel. And I can make this cut all the way across the bottom, a bottom feeding cut, where I can come back, I can drop my tool rest a little bit and come back in a shearing scrape. Yeah, this is definitely sycamore.
Well, that's one sweet cut. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wood. Really helpful. Or I can cut it like that. And this gets me where I want to be. Now, one of the things you'll notice with those cuts, okay, is that I don't like to sand. And I'm very happy with good shearing cuts because it means I have a lot less sanding to do.
If you sanded it, you lose your corners, wouldn't you?
Well,
your edges. I'm sorry.
What I do, you could, okay, but it all depends on the angle of how you sand. Now I power sand on the lathe. All right, so I have a drill here, a corded drill with mandrels, and I use. I'll show you. I'll take one pass and show you how that works. All right. So I am very careful with how I sand these pieces. Number one, get your tool rest out of the way. Number two, get your tailstock out of the way. Let me see, I gotta put this stuff somewhere. Number three, take the spike out of your tailstock so you don't poke your elbow with it. Guess how I know that?
You read about it.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do when I'm power sanding is I've got these discs I've cut out that are various and sundry grits, and I write what grit it is on the back, and they go on my little Klingspor mandrel, okay, hook and loop. So when I'm sanding these, I'm tilting it back this way. So when the piece comes into the sanding disc, it's not clipping the edge. It's sort of bouncing it right directly into the surface I'm trying to sand. And I'm mostly just trying to sand this bit in here anyway. Okay, if you've got some ridges and stuff like they do, some are sort of showing up on the camera. I can't really see them on the piece, but they are showing up on the camera here. I will hand sand these off the lathe, so I can be very careful about where exactly I'm sanding. So, but that looks like this.
I saw a fellow named St. Pierre do this in the 2005 AAW symposium.
So I'm tilting this so that I'm not catching my edges.
And he created a dead man or a gapping block to match that contour and put his paper on there.
Well, one of the things that I do with these is these, let me see if I can get this on the camera here. There we go. These sanding mandrels are soft, so they flex.
Yeah.
Okay. And the paper is a little bit bigger than my mandrel, so it also will bend and flex. So that's how I keep things where I want them to be. That very quickly, that was just 100 grit, and it very quickly took away most of those ridges. All right.
Nice, nice.
So it doesn't take a lot to get a really good finish, and then you're just taking scratches away. Okay. We switch to this.
Can I throw something in there, Matt?
Oh yeah.
You said it doesn't take a lot to get a good finish. You didn't have to fix any tears. You had, like you said, good sharp tools and good presentation. You didn't gouge, you sliced.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I actively work on all of my, most of my cuts when I start getting down to near where I want to be with my final finish. Most of my cuts are shearing cuts or shearing scrapes. So I try to work on that. I'm not every cut. Clearly, when you're hogging, you're not working on that. But most of my cuts, whenever I'm doing that, I am working to get as sheer of a scrape or a cut as I can get. So that's my goal. All right. So I'm going to make sure now. I'm going to switch over back to this view. I've got. Let's see. I think that I'm going to reduce the size of this little foot I've got going on here because it's a little too big. So I'm going to round off these corners a little bit. And one of the things I've got to make sure I've got room to do is I want to undercut this. I want to undercut here. So I'm sure I've shown this before, but this is a parting tool that I use. It's a Benjamin Best parting tool. Let me get that little black thing out here again. It's a Benjamin Best parting tool, okay? And it's a basic parting tool. It's a thin parting tool. And what I've done with it here is it's slightly slanted on the end. It's not straight across. So one side is higher than the other, a little bit skewish, if you will, okay? And what that lets me do is it lets me go in at an angle. I can come in at an angle and get a good part, and I can undercut things pretty easily. So this is like one of my favorite tools now. So and that
if it comes another way from the manufacturer, you can change it.
Yep. So if I'm spending, and I think this tool cost me $15 or something. So I didn't feel a whole lot of qualms about trying to muck with the grind. And it probably took me 2 or 3 passes before I got it where I wanted it. But, it was a $15 tool. I didn't feel like I could screw it up to the point where I would hurt things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, all right, I'm going to make this a little smaller. So this is a shearing cut that I'm doing this here. And I'm being very, very careful. I'm not riding my bevel, but my bevel is very close to where the actual cut is. Okay. So what I've done here is I've rounded off my foot a little bit. So I don't know if you can see that, but this bit here is rounded off a little bit. Okay. So this gives me more room to undercut this here. So, and I don't know if you can see these cuts here from this little parting tool. Let me zoom in on that. But they're kind of, can you see how they're not straight? How they're not, I don't know, is that showing up on here?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. They're not straight. They're angled in, and that tool is giving me that, okay? All right, so now I'm going to keep doing that. You know what, before I do that, I want to put a little bevel in here. See if I can do it without screwing it up. I'm going to add a feature. Little bead. That's a skew. This is a detail gouge. This is called a design opportunity. All right, and now I've got to adjust this a little bit.
Matt, you may want to zoom us back out too, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I will.
That was getting scary close.
Now that tool is a little too small to give me good purchase, to give me a good solid cut. So I'm going to come back with my bigger bowl gouge and do a slice here to clean that up, because I could hear and see the chatter, and I'm sure y'all could too. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit. Okay. Now, these handles are made out of 2x4s from the shop. This is picture hanging wire. It's strung between the two handles. I got a little hole in here. The picture hanging wire is tied through. This is my wood burner, okay? Now on this piece, you've got to be very, very careful. Watch your fingers. There's my burn. Shift it over here. There's another
Waiting for
burn.
I'm waiting for Jeff to jump up and say, don't hold that wire with your fingers.
Yeah, don't hold the wire with the fingers. Rule number one, if the lathe wants to take the wire, give the lathe the wire.
And don't touch the wire after you did that.
That's right, because the wire going to be hot.
Was that Joaquin again?
I think that was Doug Grimes.
Dean. That was Dean.
Dean Grimes, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dean. So Dean's tested it too. Okay.
And also don't put it on your bench that's full of shavings. It'll light up those shavings and cause a fire.
Thought you folks in Canada like a little warmth.
Sometimes, but not that kind of warmth.
All these people been reading about this.
It's in that book, What Not to Do at Your Lathe.
And I'm going to cut this loose because the last one I did went flying. And I promised the guys on Facebook that I wouldn't launch anything tonight.
Might have gotten better ratings.
Yeah.
If it didn't hit a camera, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just paid a whole $30 for these cameras. I don't want to kill any cameras tonight. So there's my little piece. Okay. There's my base. I've got to do some trimming off that. Now, let me show you guys what I do. So here again is let me back this up a bit. This is my Harbor Freight hand sanding deal. I am going to sand these flats here. Okay. Because they're flat, and I can. And it's very a quick way to clean them up. So there is my little sycamore piece. I've got to clean up the bottom, but there's my 3-corner bowl. It's got a shallow profile, as you can see. I've got a bead and some decoration here, and I've got a foot on the bottom of it. So life is good.
Great demo. Great demo, Matt.
Very nice.
Good
demo.
job.
Just so you folks know, Matt was awarded the Turn of the Year for the Detroit area wood turners. And he's done this once or twice before. Extremely good demonstration, Matt. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Very good. I really like that
Before we
demonstration.
go away here, I got one more page on this. So I basically these are the steps. Okay. So I want to make sure I got this on the video. I mean, I just showed these. Okay. But these are the steps. So and that's that's like the second one I did there. That one was out of Cocobolo. I was like, I could do this. So
Cocobolo makes a sweet looking bowl.
Yeah. Irritates my skin, but it's spectacular wood. Now, I don't remember where the piece came from, but
For you folks looking at this, that will be on the excerpt that we do, or Dave does, for our website on this demonstration, and you can freeze it and make note of those items. He taught you well.
okay. Any questions on anything I did tonight?
Can I do that out of pine?
I'd love to see it, Ronnie.
How are you going to remove the button on the bottom of the pedestal? Are you going to carve and sand that off?
There's a couple ways I could do that. One of the things I keep handy in my shop is a cordless Dremel. Okay, and this makes very short work of this. And I because it's end grain, well, maybe, but I also have behind me here on my workstation is I have a Fordham and 4 other Dremels, and one of those Dremels permanently has a reciprocating handpiece with a carving bit in the tip of it that lets me make very short work of those buttons. So let me see if I can drag that out. This is usually my preferred because it gives you a really smooth finish. And I've had enough times where I've gone through the where I've been a little too overzealous in the carving, and carved the and carved into the place, and then I had to do extra sanding, and we've already been over how much I dislike sanding. So let me switch to my overhead cam here to answer that question. So this is a WeCheer reciprocating handpiece. It goes on the Dremel. It takes these flex cut carving knives, okay? And the way this works is it only cuts when there's pressure. So I turn on the Dremel. I take my piece like this. I work with the grain, and I just carve it off. Yep, and Wolf always howls. One of my Malamutes howls when I do this. So you just don't try to take too much of it. So on this piece, the grain is running this way, across like this. So I am carving with the grain, and if I switch it around, I'll come back with the grain. Now, can you guys hear that? Can you hear the dogs in the background howling?
Can't hear the dog.
Okay. But anyway, that's how I do it. So, in 5 minutes I can have this off. So,
Matt?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't cost you anything to belong to this club, but this is an expensive club because every week I get off of here and you want new tools.
Hey, Matt?
All part of the service. Yes, sir.
Can you put a link to where you got that carving attachment for your Dremel?
I think I got it. I think I got it.
Jewelry carving, and I need an attachment like that.
I think I got it on Amazon, frankly. If you're doing jewelry carving, I would. Don't you need more precise tools? This is sort of a wood carving.
I make jewelry pendants out of wood, and I got some carving bits that would fit in that tool, and I would like to use instead of doing it by hand, I'd like to use a machine.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm pretty sure I got it off of Amazon.
Okay.
It's called the WeCheer, WeCheer reciprocating handpiece. And I'd have to, if I can find it, I'll put it in.
Handpiece fits. Doesn't that handpiece fit the flex shaft, all the flex shafts, the Fordhams and everything?
Yeah, they do. They have a bunch of those sorts of.
Because I have one I use on my Fordham now. Now you said you cut with the grain. I cut across the grain and have a little bit more slope on my chisel. That way I don't possibly get a split out on the end of it as it digs into the grain. Got weird grain structure.
Okay, Mike King had just put that piece up on chat. Remember, folks, save the chat.
Great. trade.
Yeah, you can get the tool from, actually you can get the tool from Woodcrafts, both for the handpiece and also for the bits that go with it. You can buy a pack of 5 and they have like a spoon, a straight, they have a 90-degree. Woodcraft sells them.
Yep. And I think that the only other, I just have the 2 packs, which is maybe the one that came with it. And the other one, which is called, I believe it's called the detail pack. And the detail pack is the one that came with the straight bit and some of the others that were, but they're great for wood carving. So
thanks, Matt.
Yep.
That's why we're here. Boy, look at the information we got going. Right. Matt, I got to say, that was an awesome demonstration, sir. Very much appreciated. I've done those pieces in the past. You gave me some better ideas on how to do them, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Eddie. I taught a class 2 years ago, and one of my students did something in the class, and he might have done it by accident, but he added some things to it that was like that. I made one piece like that, but I want to try more. So I learned stuff too. So there's a lot you could do with these. You can make the bowls deep, you can make the bowls shallow, you can do all kinds of things. So
the demonstration I saw at AAW, the guy, I really think his name was St. Pierre, Phil or Paul St. Pierre, and he did it nicely and very orchestrated. But we had some jaybirds in the front row that had 1,000,004 comments because they really thought they could do better than the demonstrator did. So I had to make him another round and watch it again and talk to him a little bit. And the thing about the cube, guess who didn't pay attention to that?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's real tricky.
Yeah. How hard is it to make a cube? Go do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, making a cube alone is difficult. And then, like I said, I couldn't make one perfect on my table saw, so I was out here with the belt sander. But the real tricky part about this is the fact that you're turning a lot of air, and that when you're done turning air, you've got a propeller one around that could tear up your fingers, or if you're not careful and it hits the tool rest, it'll just break the piece. There's a lot of pitfalls here. So just if you're trying this, more power to you. Be careful. Watch, make sure you know where your fingers are, make sure you know where your tool rest is. Be very, very careful. Spin everything, just take extra precautions.
Make sure you keep your hands on the other side of the tool rest.
Right.
That's it. If you want to keep them. We've got to pop in with the first sergeant now.
Yes.
First sergeant's in tonight with us. Dane, can you find him? I know.
Yeah, let me pull him up here. I got him.
Testing. There we are.
Hey, Doug.
All right. So much thank yous to everybody that sent me the pens. We had the big send off this weekend for a unit that's going to go on their little field trip overseas, and the appreciation was enormous. Hopefully some of the turners out there that sent in those pens will get some emails from some of the soldiers that received them.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
You just mentioned one thing that returned emails. I have received 2 emails for thank you for the pins that you handed out of the 20 pin of the 20 pins that I sent you.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. So I wanted them to understand how much you all appreciated them, and I wanted them to know how much you all appreciated, and so we put the message out there. Again, the thank yous I got was awesome, because of course I get to see it face to face and watch their eyes light up, and I wish I could share that moment with all of you, but just rest assured it truly happened. They really, really appreciated it. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. What I got to tell you guys is I got another box that came in though on Monday, or was it yesterday, Tuesday? No, I believe it was Monday. I received it from somebody in our club, sent me some more pens. We're going to start the stockpile up again. But this artist made a couple of other items that I had never seen done before. Check out these little shotgun replica shells.
Yeah, that looks
and
familiar.
Martin Clarkson, are you on tonight? Is Martin on with us?
Martin Clarkson, he was in there earlier.
That's who sent these all the way from the other side of the pond.
Right?
Wow.
So worldwide wood turners truly supporting the American military. That's pretty cool. That is
neat.
cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I will make sure, you know, to spread the love and let whichever whoever receives these know that they actually came all the way from England. So thanks again, everybody. I can't stay on because I got another meeting I got to get to. We got a lot of stuff going on right now. So once again, I appreciate everything.
Doug, before you jump out, I did some research on airlines and stuff. Following up some stuff I did, and I'll go ahead and I wrote up about 3 pages on it, what I recommended, and I'll send it to our webmaster and let him post it on the website.
Okay.
And basically, I'm recommending copper tubing, but versus the other, but I think it's about the same price. So.
Oh, you're talking about for my shop, for my airlines?
Yeah, shop for your airlines.
Okay, hey, I appreciate that. Thank you.
The pack is not not recommended by the manufacturer for airlines.
Okay.
And it can get hot if it's too close to the compressor, and it's if you get too high a pressure, you could have failures with it. But it won't be a catastrophic like PVC. But I'm recommending copper because you'll cool down and you have less moisture problems. But
okay.
I'll go ahead and post it. I went through some analysis on how much water you get out of air and different humidities and everything else. So.
Look at this. Awesome. You can't ask for better treatment than that. Thank you. I really.
Well, I'm a retired engineer, so mechanical engineer. So that's part of our stuff. So.
Man, that's awesome.
I agree with Trey on the copper pipe. I put a lot of them in.
Well, thank you. Dang, that's awesome.
Well, the pipe is more expensive, but the fittings are a whole lot cheaper. The fittings on copper piping is a whole lot cheaper. So you can put the fittings in, and the fittings on that PEX pipe are very expensive.
Okay.
And
all
so
right.
I think you can do it for the same amount of money or less.
Well, you definitely know way more about this than I do. So sold. It'll happen your way.
Well, I'll go ahead and send it. Go ahead and send that to our webmaster so we can get it up on the website.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Again, I wish I could stay longer. I hope y'all have a great week and happy turnings, but I got to get back after it.
Hey,
congratulations.
Update before you leave.
Yeah.
No shop update. No. He's got to go. He's got to go.
He's got to go, Ronnie.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Have a good.
All right. Bye.
Doug Moore is our first sergeant. He's an active military member in Phoenix, Arizona, and he handles our distribution or his distribution of our Freedom Pens for our troops. And when part of that, you turn a pen and you send it to us. Well, really, you send it to Doug, and that link is on the front page of our website, where almost everything dealing with wood turning is going to be. Dave's doing a great job for it. Back in from one of our members on chat, and Doug Miller from Kentucky cleared just up a minute ago, or helped clear just up a minute ago, that piece Brett failed on Matt a few minutes ago. That was not a turner's fault. The material he was working with is like everything else worked with. It's all made by God, and it doesn't all have to be exact. So when he hit this piece, there may have been a fracture, a cause, a crease when it was banged on the bandsaw or whatever, and that is where it failed. And Ronnie, and nothing wrong with that, he did an awesome demonstration on it. Practice. You might not be able to do a 3x3x3, and that's a cube. But practice with another piece on making those slices and cuts. Practice beforehand. And Ronnie, you asked, can we do it with the 2x4, 2x lumber? Yes, we can. How much super glue do you have? No, not for gluing it back together. We're going to do it before we're going to dress it as we go. We're going to cheat a little bit. All right, it's 20 minutes after the hour. Good evening, everybody. This is worldwidewoodturners.org. And if you'd like to contact us, you can do so through our website, worldwidewoodturners.org. And you can send us email at worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. We have a newsletter, which this month ran about 9 or 10 pages long. You folks are doing great sending stuff into the newsletter. And June's is even bigger right now, and I'm still collecting photographs and articles and items and things for the newsletter. You send that to me through worldwidewoodturners@gmail.org, and I'll get it. Just like if you have a question, you want to do something as a demo, you want to contact somebody. The beauty of this organization, and it's the beauty of this organization, we do not collect names, phone numbers, and addresses and email addresses. We don't collect that. We can put it on the chat, and that's fine. If you want to put it on chat, that's fine. But we won't have a directory. Why? Because there's some businesses only use that for profit, not education. We won't go down that road at all. All right, let's go back to gallery because I'm seeing folks popping up here.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sarge is from Tucson. He's from Phoenix.
Prescott. He's from Prescott.
What you got?
Or as they like to say up there, Prescott. The rest of us in the world call it Prescott. All right, so back to gallery. So let's try Johnny Hughes again. Johnny, you there? You're muted, brother.
I'm here by my shop, and I came inside. My gallery's out the shop. Next week.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Johnny. Who else we have, Name?
All right. Let's see. Let's move along to Jason Collett. Let's see. Go ahead and start talking, Jason. I'll pull you up here.
Folks, when we introduce you, you have to talk first so he can find you. There's over 100 people in the pack right now.
All right, so Jason's not
Guys,
there.
I do not see Jason. He's not in the list.
All right, so let's move along to David J. Hey, David.
Yes.
Back to you again. How are you?
Yes, hi, how are you? I just thought I'd throw out here that I was watching Cade's video on how to make the wig stand. And this is why I got the rubber bands here to help glue it all together. This is one of my stands.
Very nice.
And then I have
is that construction lumber?
2x6.
2x6.
Yes. And then there's another one.
Very nice. They look great.
And then I put the recess on the bottom here is for the final finish on this side, and drilling the hole to finish it all off. And then I have one more, but I borrowed Cade's idea with the rubber bands here, though. Thank you, Cade.
I gave my grandson a thing like that to shoot rubber bands.
You're welcome. Shoot arrows through that too.
I think he earned a ticket there, Dane.
Yes, I believe so.
That's my start of 10.
All right, thanks, David.
Very well done.
All right, so Jason just responded and said he's here. So, oh, there he is now. Jason, what's happening?
Okay, you have to unmute if you're going to talk to us. Uh-oh.
Can't hear you, Jason.
Start sign language. Okay. Anybody read his lips?
For him. That's a piece of wood. I made it into a vase. Nice.
And I spun it on a lathe.
Sycamore?
It's fogwood.
Is it maple?
Dogwood.
Looks like ambrosia maple.
Yeah, it looks like ambrosia.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something wrong with your audio, Jason.
Soft maple.
You wanna try and get out and then come back in and we'll come back to you?
Show us some pictures or show us what the tree looks like with your body.
Sign language.
Poplar.
You think we're talking to Doug Rowe or what?
All right, so let's go to John Brown.
Here I am. You have me there now?
Yeah, I see you now.
Okay. Well, what I have isn't very big. I had some knots in the yellow pine that I was making some of the parts for. Whoops. Some of the parts for the wig stands, and there's what the knots look like. I thought they looked pretty neat.
Ooh.
In that, and I've got one more here also. They're kind of small. They're not over about 2.5 inches tall, but there's a grain pattern in that knot.
Beautiful Chatorius, really nice.
Yeah, thank you. And I have some nieces that might get into a fight over these. I'm not sure, because they like ugliness, and well, that's not ugly, but they like that strange looking pieces in the wood. And here's the last little one. It's only about 2 inches tall, but
go back to you, John.
There we go. There we go. And it was more of a knot the whole way around, and turned out that way. So that's all. That's all I have to offer tonight. I got 3 more wig stands made, and they're going to go to the hospital about maybe Monday or something.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you showing us.
Beautiful.
And your participation in a wig stand contest or challenge. And there's no prizes except the one you get in your heart when you give it away. Who's Randy's there? Hey, Randy.
Good evening. I went to the local woodcraft store this last week, and I bought a bunch of stuff from my favorite toy store. And among other things, I bought these, which are 2 10-packs of pen kits for Freedom pens. And
whoa, nice.
As I was talking to the gentleman, I told him I was making them for them. And I got home about a week later, and I looked at them. I started emptying the bags out, and guess what I found?
More?
I got 4 packs.
Wow.
I put in the bag a small note that said, "Thank you for making pens for our troops."
Thank you for making pens for our troops.
That's
Wonderful.
awesome. Awesome.
Isn't the payback wonderful? Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, great job.
Good. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate you sharing that tonight. Folks, if you've got an item you like to show tonight in gallery, and we keep this rolling for a little bit, and it also allows for some tips and hints from Turners, all you have to do is put the information in our chat. And Dane is sitting out in Tucson, Arizona, and he will pop us up on the screen. He used to live in Prescott, but he moved over to Tucson. What's up, Dane? Who's in?
All right, Robert is next. How you doing, Robert?
Good, thank you. I'm getting back into bowl turning. So I turned this little guy. It was a odd piece of walnut with a little ding in it.
Character.
Character in it, yeah. So it turned out really well. I was practicing on getting it thin. The other thing was I always wanted to do a natural edge bowl. So this was a little piece of cherry, and I picked it up, and it looked terrible. It looked absolutely. I said, "This is going to be the worst thing I've ever turned."
You hold it back towards you.
Sure. Look at the natural edge on that. It just
nice.
It stayed right on, and look at the grain in there.
Wow, that's beauty.
So
it's pretty piece.
So something you think you're gonna not turn out well really turned out well.
Looks like
awesome.
a bird's nest.
Yeah, it does.
Satisfying,
It
ain't
was
it?
a small piece.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
round. It was round, but now.
Yeah.
now-
A
Brenda,
little sawdust in that. Make it a bird nest.
yeah,
Okay.
send him an egg.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Robert.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Ray.
All right. Has anybody ever turned mimosa?
Oh, yeah.
I've drank a few.
You get
Yes,
a lot of
mimosa is
tear out on it.
beautiful to turn.
What'd you say?
Mimosa is beautiful. Was your hand stained black after turning that wet?
No, but I turned some, what was it? Japanese chestnut, I think it was. And my whole lathe was black and my hands were black, but I had no problem with this. And if you see on the bottom, I put some red dye on. It don't show up here on the camera, but I put some red dye and it's the same color as the bloom. So just something different, I did on the bottom of it. But you get a lot of tear out in it, so you have to keep sharp tools. And that was the only challenge that there was to it, is just keep making sure I had 4 bow gouges and I go sharpen them all 4 and then I go turn. Doing, about 3 or 4 passes, I'd put one down and pick up a sharp one, and I mustered my way through it. But it's got some really, really good grain.
Yeah, they say you don't get one more good cut out of a tool. You sharpen, get one good cut out of a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have some more of that, and I turned the crotch, and out of one side I've done a bow, and then I'm getting ready to do a YouTube video out of the other side, and it's all going to be one video, but I've got one bow to show, and it turned out beautiful. It just, especially with the crotch in there, it had a lot of grain effect. It turned out beautiful too. It's the first time I've ever turned mimosa, so it's just something different.
It's a pretty wood. Get a good finish on it. It is gorgeous.
Yeah,
So
I sprayed it with
you.
lacquer. I actually sprayed it with lacquer.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you sharing tonight.
Alfred.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing?
All right, sir. What's on?
I think I showed this last week. It's a bird's mouth, and it's okay, but I wasn't too happy with the size of the bird's mouth itself in relation to the bowl. So I said, I got to do another one. So this week I did this one, and it's a lot smaller, but the bird's mouth is a lot bigger, and I like the effect on this one a lot more than the other one.
Great accent.
Yeah. I like the shape. Oops, there it is. This is a piece of actually maple. It came up from a tree in our backyard. It came down, and it's not completely finished. I have about 4 coats of lacquer on it so far. I need to do a few more. That's all I have this week.
It's pretty. You got a beautiful piece going to be in our next edition of our newsletter. It is very nice, folks. If you haven't seen our newsletter, it's on our website. It's also on our Facebook page, and it shows the work that you do, the turners. That's what you do. Where are we heading, Dane?
Well, we've got a superstar here.
Where?
Hey, Kim. She's right there. Hey?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So last week
I
I
don't know
asked
if you can
Aid,
hear
or
me.
asked all of you some advice
hear you
on
too.
how to get the rolling pins nice and flat. And it is harder. It's easier said than done. I don't play well with rules, but I did get them done.
Yay.
And I have 3 more to turn. I kind of did 2, and I was like, okay, that's more than my OCD can handle. You probably can't see the gap, but one of these has a real small gap. My first one ended up being smaller, but this is, I've got the woods written down here. Tiger wood, which is this one right here. This is Indian rosewood, which has some really pretty pink, like streaks and stuff in it. And then Purple Heart, and I'm not sure if this is Red Heart or Bloodwood. It kind of looks like Red Heart because Bloodwood is a little darker, I'm assuming. So it's my Thursday video, and I show you how I get the wave in it, on how I cut the wood and glue them all up together to get the wave. But I used them the other day, and they work so much easier than the handled style ones, at least in my opinion. But yeah, that Cade's trick worked, and Cade, I give you a shout out in my video, and also Worldwide Wood Turners to help get more people involved in our club and answer questions that you guys are so awesome at doing, answering questions and helping.
We only do it because of folks like you.
Well, I thank you. I thank you all, and thank you, Cade, for helping me out with that. I did use that block. Matter of fact, I cut a piece of wood the exact width of my flat area, and I went through all the rough grits with the block of wood, and then did the softer grits by hand because I didn't have finer sandpaper that would fit on my block of wood, but it seemed to work really well, and thankful for that tip.
Right on.
Those are awesome.
Thank you.
Joe, you're up.
Oh, hey, good evening, folks. I have a wig stand here that is painted. We're a member of the Rocky Mountain Wood Turners. We made over 220 stands. And one of the things that a lot of us do is we have them painted, which I haven't seen members of our group do. These are going to women for the most part, and they really like the artistic nature of the painted stands. So we've had some of our members are pretty accomplished painters. We've also had some painted by some local groups like the Loveland Artist Group, the University of Northern Colorado Art Department painted some, plus some independent artists. And the people who get the wig stands, again, who are mostly women, 3 out of 4 of them will take a painted stand over a natural finish. The only thing is when you have them painted is make sure that you put a coat of clear poly on it, because when the women wash their wigs, they want to put them on the stand, and that will protect the wigs from picking up any colors of the paint.
Good idea. Thank you, Joe. Joe, you earned a ticket on that one.
Yeah, how about that? Look at that. We're on it tonight. Thank you, Joe.
Good job, Joe.
Oh, here I'm talking and I was muted. Hello, Joe. That looks great. I was just wondering what type of paints you use because they look iridescent. Were they Joe Sonia or did you hear me?
Joe?
I think I'm unmuted. I was
No, I can
talking.
hear you.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you.
Okay.
Joe, you
thanks.
still there?
Talk to us. Joe, you're muted.
Yeah, Joe's muted.
Joe, you have to
Just
unmute
curious
yourself for the
what
chat.
the paints were. They look iridescent.
To be honest, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this particular one, we painted, we have a pen turners club, and in one of our meetings about a year plus ago, we made a bunch there, and one of the guys had the paint that we use for this. You basically put it on there and blew on it, and I'm not sure what it was called, but my wife absolutely fell in love with it. So this is her stand.
Yeah, that's the iridescent paints, and they call it the cosmic cloud effect with the blowing.
Okay. Yeah. Very nice.
Very good.
Thank you. Hey, you know why we in Canada, and that's where Cade is. I think Cade wants to chat with us for a minute. How we doing, Cade?
I'm doing pretty good. I have
Well,
a couple
before
things I can show.
you even get started,
Pardon?
before you get started on telling us what you have tonight, I have to tell you that the demonstration I watched you do last weekend, which was free on explaining a wig stand, was probably one of the best demonstrations I'd seen in a long, long time. Ronnie, jump on board with this one because Ronnie was there too.
I was there
Well,
also too.
I just unmuted myself. Kate, every demo you do, whether it's for us on a Wednesday night or watching you on YouTube, You explain things that so many people just pass over and forget to mention. You do an excellent demo and an excellent demonstration.
Natural teacher.
Yes,
Very
thank
good.
you. It was an excellent job, Kate, as
Yeah,
usual.
Kate,
You
that
did a great job.
was a spindle
Everything.
teaching thing and a bowl turning class and everything.
Yep, all there. And you get that right here on Worldwide Wood Turners, folks. And we don't have any sponsors or any obligations, any commitments except to you, the wood turners. But Cade, that thing was awesome. Thank you a lot.
Thank you,
Now,
Kate.
show us some of your work, bud.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for all the praise. It's a pleasure. I enjoy
Face ain't
sharing.
red. We got to
And,
work harder.
especially for a great cause that's near and dear to my heart. Am I muted? No? Okay.
No, you're good.
So on that note, this is the wig stand I turned in my demonstration on Sunday. This is turned out of cherry. And first, I'd like to thank everyone who made it out. It was a great demo, a lot of fun to share with everybody. And if you weren't able to make it, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll send you the video. It's available for 25 days through Zoom. After that, it'll be uploaded on my YouTube channel. So this one's made out of cherry. And just a couple more things I did. I'm not sure if I showed you this one last week. I think I might have, but it hadn't warped yet. So it was this shape. Now it has warped to become more heart-shaped because the end grain elongates and the side grain squishes slightly. So this is a bird mouth hollow form, which is made out of ambrosia maple or soft maple. That one I did last week. So I did one yesterday out of ash. And this one is quite a different shape. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but once it warps, it'll be more oval.
Oblong, yeah.
Oblong with a slight taper to the base. We have the pith intact. You can leave pith in pieces. The only thing is you have to turn the wall thickness less than 3/8 to relieve that stress off that pith. Otherwise it will crack. And the key in turning these wet and allowing them to dry evenly and consistently to minimize cracking is consistent wall thickness. So this one's 1/8 of an inch all the way to the base. This one is also 1/8 of an inch all the way to the base. This one, the bark came flying off because it had some of those emerald ash borer beetles in the bark. So that came flying off, but luckily we always wear our face shields when turning live edge stock or anything at that matter, because a bottle stopper could do some damage.
Hey, Kate, that shape reminds me of a pregnant woman's shape like that. And I was like, he's got, he's got something coming and you might have that shape in mind. But I love that shape. It was very attractive and it was like, it's a natural form. And the first thing I thought of was a pregnant woman, just how,
Get them off of
I don't
there.
know.
When's the big day?
That's a great way to put it, Kim. Thanks.
Great analogy.
I have started to see my wife get quite a big baby bump as there's only 1.5 months, 2 months left. The due date is July 8th.
Oh my goodness. How exciting. I'm excited for you both.
She needs
Thank
to
you.
hold off till the 14th.
Yeah, so no, we have it scheduled for the 8th. So it's a scheduled birth date for the 8th because it's scheduled C-section.
But the 14th is my birthday.
It might put it on if it doesn't come early. Here's another one I did in ash. This one I did this morning.
You showed it once.
No, that was this one I did yesterday. This one I did this morning, so I haven't showed anyone this yet. This one is made out of ash. It's a bird mouth hollow form again. This one is a little thicker at 3/16. And the pith still intact. But funny, when you look at it this way, when I tilt it up like this, it almost looks like a pig face. with the
Yep.
2 eyes of the pith.
About that.
No, it's a raccoon. It's a raccoon.
Could be, that was my next one
Could
too.
be a coon, yeah.
My wife said the eyes look like raccoon eyes.
Yeah.
So that'll warp over time. And that's it for bird mouth hollow forms. The only
Looks
thing
like
I
an
did-
alien to me.
That's what I was thinking.
That'll work too, Brenda.
Yeah, that'll work too. Yeah. An alien, a raccoon, a pig, a little cockeyed kind of look.
What scares me is I'm on serious pain medication. I don't see any of that stuff.
And then
You
this
need to talk to
afternoon,
your
I
doc,
did a
Daddy.
demo for a Zoom
Get the good
club.
stuff.
And I did this small thin wall bowl out of cherry. And this is turned, look at the wall thickness. The
I can see
16th
light
of
through
an
it.
inch. The 16th of an inch wall thickness there.
Very
Yeah, I
nice.
watched that demo, Kate. It was really great. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks a
Kate,
lot.
you did a demo on that ball there, right there?
I demoed this bowl this afternoon, yes.
Kate, do you let now webmaster know when your demos are?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
This
Does
was
Dave
actually for Martin Clarkson's club this afternoon.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Because Dave's sitting back right now saying, man, he giving him more work to do. I see him over there.
No, I've asked him to give me those things a little ahead of time. Love to put them up.
Okay, yeah, I will for sure. I'll send you an email of all my upcoming demos.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much.
All
And
right.
that's it for me for this week.
Thank
I do
you,
have
Kate.
pins I made, but unfortunately they're still drying, so I'll show them next week.
All right. Thank you, sir, and very much appreciate your demo last weekend. We're rocking and rolling on this wake stand project, and I'm so proud of what we're doing here. It's one of those things that you kind of feel like you want to do.
Right.
It's about 1:45. Dane is handling our gallery tonight, and we have a few more in the box, so let's go.
Yeah, we got quite a few. Let's see. Let's go to Patrick. How are you, Patrick?
Patrick, we only see the top of your head.
We can only see the top of your head.
All right, I'm good.
Much better.
There we are.
I got a piece that's kind of like the 3-corner bow. It's kind of tricky to turn. You turn a lot of air, but it's a 4-corner box.
I like that.
Very
Nice.
nice, Patrick.
On that?
I intended to leave these corners square, but it didn't work out. It just kind of rounded them off.
You're preaching to the choir about that, right, Matt?
Is that thing hollow?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's a tricky turn.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You turn
What's
a
your
lot of
finish,
air.
Pat? What's your finish?
It's spray on lacquer.
Very nice.
That's
Thank you,
good.
Pat.
That's something that sits on a mantle.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very
thanks,
nice.
Patrick.
Sure.
Appreciate that. We're going to continue gallery here, folks.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. If you'd like to show something, put it in chat. We'll get there. But hey, because we get so much information in chat each week, save the chat before you leave tonight. And all you have to do on that is go to the chat thing, and on the lower right-hand corner, there's a little square that's got 3 dots. Click on it. Guess what? It'll say save chat. You can save the chat. Who's next, Dane?
Well, we got Mr. Van.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Hey, Van.
In my journey for learning the art of wood turning, I like to try a lot of different things. So I was experimenting with the hollow form and using different kinds of wood at the same time for 2 reasons. One, show a variety of wood and interest, but I still haven't collected huge quantities of wood. And when I end up with little pieces, I can make one piece out of 5 different pieces and put them together. And then if I'm making one of the parts and encounter problems and damage it, I can redo that part, and then the whole thing isn't totally destroyed. But I've been enjoying
Whoa, that's got some color.
pedestal bowls and.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
This
What wood
one-
is that?
This is spalted walnut.
Spalted walnut. Wow.
This
That's
is
English
three
walnut?
pieces. This one, as I said, at this stage of the game, it's easier for me to make a base and the unit itself, and then play around with different tops or whatever. But that's
Both beautiful.
Very nice, Dan, very
that's
nice.
what I've been doing.
Very sweet. Thank you.
And I tell you, if you have, it doesn't matter if you had to glue matchsticks together to make art. It's all right with us. That is beautiful. I love those changes. Who's up? Len, you're on.
All right, I've
Got a wig stand.
Got to pull it back towards you so we can see it. There you go.
okay, got to get back kind of far. This is another wig stand I had turned. I had showed one about a month or so ago, but this one is out of this one's out of mesquite, and this one on the spindle I kind of turned I cut it square. Cut it square in my table saw first, and then I tried leaving squares on the ends too, but it just didn't look right. So I just went ahead and tapered it down and left the square in the middle, and it's just it's out of some mesquite.
It looks good.
Very good.
Very nice.
Earn yourself another ticket in the Wake Stand Warrior Challenge.
Warrior, let's take a look at this. What you think, Lynn?
Well, I thought I had it in here.
Hey, no, you got it. So, hey,
All right.
Dave, are you putting a little thing on the website for folks to be able to print out, kind of like the 2x4 Club
I am,
for the wig stand? Awesome.
and I'm trying to keep up with the numbers, although they may get off a bit.
Nah, no worries.
No worries whatsoever, as long as they get high.
You're doing an excellent job.
Oh, yeah. One of the finest wood turning websites in the entire world. Well, right along with Martin's.
Okay, so I got Peter Soyden down for wanting to show something, but he has no video. Peter, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm here.
Okay, so you need to click your video button so we can spotlight you.
Let's see if I can find it. I don't think.
Are you on a phone, on an Android, or are you on your
No, I'm on a Surface Pro, on a little laptop.
Okay, so anybody with a laptop that can tell Peter how to, oh, looks like he found it.
Oh, good. Lucky
Bottom
you.
left corner.
Lower left-hand corner, second button and off the end. There you
That's a
go.
small oak bowl I turned from the wood pile.
That's pretty. Material, what is the material?
Oak.
And the finish?
Wipe on poly, and then I buffed it with the Canuga wax.
That's nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
That's a very good finish. We're getting a reflection off that. That's a very good finish.
Hard to tell. That kind of looks like cherry. You sure that's oak?
Yep.
Okay.
I thought cherry too.
Very nice.
The inside.
Maybe the lighting.
You can see the open grain when the light shimmers off the
That's
finish.
That's nice.
Hey, do y'all see the owl's eyes on that?
Yep.
Yep, sure do.
All right, now I know I'm on too much stuff.
Yep. It's kicking. See, you forgot to take
All
one.
right,
That's why it's kicking in now. All right.
That's
Thank you,
all I
sir.
have.
Thanks, Peter.
Very nice.
Okay, so up next is Bill. How are you, Bill?
I'm well. I hope everyone else is. Earlier, Kate was talking about churning ash. In southern Canada, there's an insect that's killing ash trees left, right, and center. the countryside is awash in dead ash. So it's
Yeah.
no trouble at all to get it. And I've been turning ash nonstop for about 3 months now, and getting a little tired of the look of it. So somebody had told me you can torch it. So this is a weed pod, a weed buzz of torched ash. It does a nice job to highlight the grain.
Would you use it towards your propane or?
Yeah, just a propane torch.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Bill, as somebody who hasn't seen ash in 4 or 5 years now, get all the ash you can, because when it's all gone, it's all gone.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, I have 2 pieces out in the garage at the moment that are 5 feet in diameter by 6 feet long. It's there's a lifetime's worth of turning for me in one of those, and probably for you in the other one.
I love ash, and the torching it is a great effect, especially if you add like beads and coves and stuff.
Yeah.
But my county alone lost over 300,000 ash trees, and now there are no more. So
yeah. Wow. Well, I think that's where we're going to. I don't, it's sad.
Yeah.
Some of us are old enough to remember when this happened to the Dutch elm 50 years ago, and it's the same thing. There are no Dutch elm trees left, hardly at all in Canada. And it's sad. Anyway, so that's one. This
very
is
nice.
a piece of spalted maple.
Wow.
So
Oh, beauty.
this was another tree that was taken down in our little village. It sat in my driveway over one winter, and when I went to cut it up for firewood in the spring, I found this and said, whoa. So I'm almost out of it now. It's so it's spalted all the way through. This is about 9 inches high by about 6.5 inches across. There's a little bit more weight in the bottom than I would have liked, but that's about as deep as I can get without doing serious injury over the amount of tool you have hanging over the tool rest. But I'm happy with the look of the outside and the grain.
I like it a lot. What do you got on it for a finish?
This is both of these are a CA glue.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah. The thing about it, there's some cracks in it, of course, which I filled with CA glue, but the surface is so busy that you can't find them unless I point them out to you.
Don't point them out. They look good to me.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a fan of heavy bottoms, because that means things don't tip as easily. So go for it.
Yeah. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Steve out of Colorado says black walnut's having that problem in Colorado. They may be running out of black walnut. Dane, do you see who somebody just said it got passed up on being on the gallery?
Yeah.
Joaquin.
No, they're on the list.
Is-
All right.
is-
So up next is Jack.
Hi, Jack, you're on. You're muted, Jack.
Yeah, I got it now.
All right.
I didn't turn this myself. My son turned this, and Randy Smith sent a message into the chat. He turned this for the Pennsylvania Farm Show. This is made out of walnut. He left me turn on it a little bit, but he said my eyes weren't going to the right spot, so he took over. And he just loves to turn these.
They're beautiful.
This is walnut, and it's finished with lacquer.
I like the ring on the inside and where it hits on that cove.
Well, he intended to put a lid in on it, but it didn't work out.
That's okay. This design opportunity, that looks good. Really nice.
Beautiful. Love that.
Thank you.
Right, who's up?
Joaquin is next. Joaquin is next.
I thought we were
All right, I'm up. I'm over here. Can you find me, Dick?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay. We had a big freeze down here, and we lost a bunch of the North Fork Island pine. And this is another piece I've turned. And I just turned it to the form. It's not exactly a form that I like, but it is what it is. And y'all know what that is about. But I got a question for you on a piece that's not finished. The guy dropped off some cedar, and The question is finish or not to finish. This is very oily. And what do you finish it with? This is my first big piece of cedar I've turned like this.
Do you know which kind of cedar it is, Joaquin?
No, I don't, Matt. He just dropped it off and says, here's some wood, Joaquin, and took off. You know how wood turners are.
Yeah.
But it's very oily. When I was cutting it with a chainsaw, it blew smoke. And even when I was cutting these out on the table saw, smoky.
All the cedar that I've turned has been Eastern red cedar, Juniperus virginiana, and I have comfortably used both lacquer, spray lacquer, and wipe-on poly on it, equally decent finishes. So those work.
Well, I had a trouble one time. It wasn't on red cedar. It was another cedar that the lacquer curdled on me.
Huh.
And I'd heard that for some other turners that it can happen on some oily cedars.
Well, you'll have to do research then. I don't know. Usually oils will work on those sorts of things, but I'm certainly open to more suggestion.
But
I've used lacquer sanding sealer and then lacquer on top of it. I did a lot of Christmas trees out of cedar last year, and that turned out real well.
Well, what about, you got the smell of the cedar, and yet if you let it set, especially outside, they turn gray. And I don't know, my choice is to use an oil, but I'm just fishing for what would be the best thing to do with it.
Right. I did a platter with oil and it was magnificent and it stayed. It didn't crust off.
Okay.
And what I understand is cedar crusts, what you talk about, the gray, it's crusting off. And if you add the oils, it will not crust.
Okay.
You mean it's exuding resins? Is that what you're talking about? Crusting off?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Well,
There was a whole deal with cedar furniture makers there for a couple of years. All their finishes were popping off, and that's exactly what was happening. One of the things you can use, like Eddie was saying, an oil, but even go to like a Danish oil where you have oil and poly mixed together, works real well. You lose your scent that way, but you keep your colors and all those kinds of things.
Okay.
I've never had a problem with pulverized oils, whether it's tongue oil, teak oil, walnut oil, Danish oil, antique oil. Polymerized works well.
Yeah. I find for me, what I have, the walnut oil is the clearest oil that I have. I have some Danish oils, but they got a little bit of hint of amber in them. They're just not clear.
Yeah.
That's the poly in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think too that your best bet would be to use oil on that. As Kate is saying, any of the polymerized oil, it's oil on oil. And this, what Matt was talking about, this is a piece of.
Hold on, we gotta get to you.
Hold on, Alfred.
Can you do it? Can you find him in?
Yeah, I got him. I'm here. Okay. This is a piece of Eastern red cedar. It's actually redder than it's showing here on my screen, but this was not oily at all. And in fact, I have polyurethane on it.
Okay.
I got about, I don't know, a few coats of polyurethane, but it kept, I've turned this, I would say about maybe 3-4 years ago, and it's still the same as the day I turned it. But there was no oil at all in it. I didn't even know that cedar can be oily until today. So
yeah, same here.
Yeah. But what I normally do, if I have a problem with not knowing what it's going to do, I usually put shellac. I spray it or coat it with shellac, and usually that's a barrier. And then on top of that, I can put anything. That's what I found.
Now that's another thing I heard was to put a shellac on it and then lacquer on top of that.
Yes,
That'll
because
work.
shellac is always a barrier, in between. And even if I'm doing something, I have to repair something that's not mine, they bring it over. I always cover it with shellac, to get a baseline and then work from there. Yeah. Because you can put either poly or lacquer on shellac, really, it doesn't matter.
This is why this is such a great club. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's it. And we're here
Thank
for you. And I tell
Captain
you,
Eddie.
Every single night, you learn, every single week, we learn something else. A little bit after the top of the hour. We'll keep going. If we got gallery, what do we have, Dane?
We've got some more. We got, let's go across the pond. Hey, Paul.
There he is.
Hey, Paul.
Hello. Got three actually. This one's the first one. It's oak. The outside is ebonized with a sort of vinegar wire wool solution, and then I've used a blue wax grain fill on that.
Very nice. Nice accent.
Just trying to get the little color out on it. So that's the first one. The second one is another oak bowl with this one, but this one I went the other way. I stained it red and then did a black wax grain fill on that one.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Good effect.
Hey,
Good
Paul,
line.
the blue wax, where did you get that from? Blue wax? What
I'm
brand
not
is it?
entirely sure. I've got about 3 different types of blue wax. I've got one that's a chestnut one that's a Hampshire sheen one, and one that's a Liberon.
Oh, okay.
It could have been any one of those 3.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's just one of the sort of coloured waxes they do for all sorts of purposes, I suppose. And this is the third one. This one's ash. And I've painted the outside. It's textured with gesso and airbrush coloured. So I've got yellow, blue, and I even painted the rim red on that one. I saw a glass bowl with those colours on it. So I thought, yeah, I'll try that on a wooden one and see how it comes out.
It looks good. I like the mix.
Something different.
Now, when you said you airbrushed the, what did you airbrush? You
The
airbrush
colours on the outside, those are airbrush acrylic paints.
acrylic paints on gesso?
Yeah. Yeah, on a white gesso base.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
how did you apply
with,
the
with
gesso?
some of these, I blend the colour more than that. I wanted
Yeah.
quite a defined sort of
That's
transition
beautiful.
there. So there's only a narrow
Yeah.
band where it's blended, but that's normally why I use the airbrush to get sort of the blends from one colour to the next on them. So
Yeah,
Paul,
that
I think
transition is
easy.
beautiful there between the yellow and the blue. That came out real nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that green there, is that from the yellow and blue mixture, or do you use green?
Yeah, just 2 colours there, just the yellow and then the blue.
Yeah, that's spot on.
So the green is just a blend of those 2, yeah.
Well, thank you, Paul. It's beautiful.
And the rim, I brushed that by hand with the sort of acrylic in a tube. That wasn't airbrushed. I suppose I could have mashed it up and airbrushed it, but I thought it was probably just as easy to brush paint that bit.
Did you brush paint that on the lathe at a slow speed or just by
No,
hand?
no, I took it off and did it by hand because I didn't know how steady I'd be at doing it on the lathe. So I thought I just did it on a table and went round the rim with a narrow brush and did it carefully by hand.
Nice job.
Very
Very
nice.
nice. Very nice.
Thank you for sharing, Paul. Dane, who's up?
All right, well, we're gonna swing back to Detroit and talk to Matt. He's got a follow-up to his demo, I believe.
Yep. Let me switch to overhead. I just wanted to show the rubber chucky, the inserts. So there's the aluminum insert. This is the original nose, and it also has a tenon on it here that fits in the chuck jaws. So you can either put it on a screw, 3/4 by 10, or put it in the chuck jaws. Anyway, that's all I got.
Which one
All right,
is that?
thank you.
Just the cone Chucky?
Yeah, it's just the basic, the original cone chucky. Yeah, this is the original cone. I got the nose. He calls it the nose, and I use the no nose. So I put it back on my. I use the no nose more than I use the nose, but this is the original ones. So
Oh, okay. Cool. I just have the rubber Chuckies that are for the finials, doing the really fine, long finials.
those
with
are
bending in
really
the end.
nice. I keep those
Yeah.
here. Yeah, those are really nice. They're little. They got little bearings inside of them. Let me see there. So
Yeah.
you basically you put the finial in there, and this has the insert on the back, and you put the finial in there and the bearing, and it rolls with it. It's really cool.
Takes the vibration out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and holds it steady.
No.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that tonight.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna span back to Randy. Randy's got a safety item. You muted, Randy. There you go.
a friend of mine noted in an email he sent me that if you're using a digital angle gauge, like a Wixley gauge, to set the table saw blade on your table saw to a 90-degree angle, to verify that you remove it before you plug in and turn on the table saw. He noted also that it missed him, but it did not miss the window.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Not a good day.
No, that'll let you know what it'll do if it hits you.
It would not be a good day.
That's it.
No, it would not.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that.
Okay.
tip.
Have a good evening, everybody.
All right,
Good night.
Randy, take care.
Take care.
Hey, Gerald Avery, you're up next. Go ahead and start talking. Gerald, you there?
Okay, if you don't catch it, there's still 60+ people in our audience tonight or in our club. And if you talk, we can find you easier because we don't have a gallery sheet that'll show all the members at one time.
Looks like Gerald said goodnight.
Okay.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he's
I don't
gone.
see him in the chat,
Yeah.
so, okay. All right, let's span back to Doug. Doug's
Okay.
got something.
Just real quick, this is one of the 2 cedar plates that I did a little over a year ago. Both of these have nothing but walnut oil on them. They were hand rubbed. I think I put 5 coats, hand rubbed till they felt dry, then set them aside for 12 hours, and then put another coat on. And there it is a year later.
Yeah, they work beautiful.
Yeah, they don't smell at all, but the finish has stayed beautifully.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that.
Yeah, buddy.
And they'll keep their color longer.
You know, one thing about it, guys, if you're concerned whether or not that'll hold up or not, I made a plate and I've eaten off of it basically twice a day and washed it with soap and water twice a day. And I just recently recoated it well after a year after it was done. But that walnut oil, after it had a chance to dry, held up to being washed daily twice for over a year.
And I don't think it matters which brand it is, does it, Dean?
I think they're all pretty close to the same, really.
Pretty close.
Mine came from Whole Food Company.
Yeah. Some of those at the grocery store, you kind of have to watch them. They've not been cooked down like some of the others, like some of the finishing walnut oils. And so they don't dry quite as well. They will eventually, but it just takes them a bit longer. And it actually, some of them say they have to be refrigerated after they're opened.
That means it goes rancid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a cooking oil, a walnut cooking oil.
Yes.
The one I had was a salad oil.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, the thing you really have to watch for is whether it's pure walnut oil or whether it's some of the salad oils have different things mixed in with the walnut.
Probably, yeah.
like vegetable oils and vinaigrettes and stuff.
That's what'll get you going.
Some of the folks, and they think you need to add flavoring to all those products.
Yeah. One thing, guys, if you're using oil, what I use, I found that this Japan dryer, I just put a few drops with the oil and it dries it so much faster. And I don't have to wait, days for it to dry before I can apply the next coat. This is used, you can actually use this, speeds up drying of oil-based paint, enamel, and varnishes. So
Where do you get that?
I believe I got this from Home Depot.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it from PPG Paint Company.
There you go.
You can buy it in any hardware store.
Yeah, yeah. It's really good stuff. If you don't want to wait, you just apply it. And besides it dries, it actually makes it harder too.
Yeah.
So that's why I used it a lot.
But we warn you, don't overdo it. Don't over, when you.
No,
you said
that's
a
why
few
I
drops.
said a few drops, exactly.
Yep. I've used it a few times to restore old tools and it worked. It gives you what the old Japan finish used to look like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Alfred. Appreciate that this evening. It's a quarter after the hour. Tell you what, Dame, we're gonna go 10 more minutes on gallery if you got it.
All right, well, I guess I'm next.
I want to see that thing on your lathe.
Yeah, which one?
That's the one.
So I did a wig stand.
Yeah, you did.
Wow. Show off.
So
Nice.
That's cool.
So I cut a spiral in it. That was done by hand and
And
chisels.
only get that here on Worldwide Woodturners.
And so this is all Chilean mesquite. Shiny enough to shave in right there. What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, it looks good. That beautiful
thank
finish and grain in that wood.
Yeah, so I tried to line up the grain and everything on it. And
That is awesome.
Mhm.
so learned a lot of lessons on that.
He sent me photographs for the newsletter, and I couldn't believe it. I want to write him back and say, whose work was this?
So that's going to my wife's aunt, who we met for the first time last month when we were on vacation. She's unfortunately going through that horrible disease, and unfortunately she's back in the hospital again this week, not feeling well, but she's going through chemo, and it's not doing her any favors, as you can imagine. Anyhow, that's where that is going. And then my nephew, who is autistic, just got accepted to a cooking school, culinary school. So I made him a French rolling pin. So
That's nice.
Really nice. Nice.
The accompanying pastry Oriental dough pin. And then, of course, when I posted a picture about it, soon-to-be brother-in-law says, "Yeah, I want one too." So another one out of mesquite, except I put a little bit of dye in it. It's a little bit of yellow-based dye followed by red dye to give it a little reddish tint.
How about me, Uncle Dane? Why don't we get mine?
And of course, his matching dumpling pin.
Oh, beautiful grain. The yellow dye really makes the chatoyance and the figure in the wood really pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Very
did.
nice.
It's did a good job. I've never used it. I've never done yellow as the base coat first on this type of mesquite, and I'm really happy with what it does with the grain and how it makes it pop, and especially when you lay something over on top of it. So yeah, I was kind of pleased with it. So
They're beautiful. They are beautiful.
Very nice.
that is it for me for the week.
Now, Dane sent us in photographs of that work, and including his wig stand that he's going to give away. And we're including it in our newsletter. If you've got something you like to show the club, it's easy. You can send it to our website. You can send it to our email.
And I'm also just finished this earlier today, actually right at 4:09. So a little bird mouth out of Chilean mesquite. This is fresh cut.
Wow.
Limb.
Oh,
So
I like the bark conclusions.
there's
yeah.
pith. There's pith.
Wow.
That's very nice. I love the color contrast.
It's about
between the
1/8
stamp
of an
and-
inch. I was hoping to save the bark, but it flew off on me. But that's all right. Got it on the sides here. I wanted to keep.
Looks really nice.
And so that's
Very
done.
well
So
done.
then the rolling pins were all done in Parfix 3408, one coat. Wipe it on, let it sit, wipe the excess off within 1 minute. Set it aside for it to dry, and then buff it with Vonnex. Again, easy peasy. It's easier than eating pancakes to do 3408 as a finish. And then the wig stand is a combination of wipe-on poly and tongue oil with denatured alcohol as a thinner, and there's 3 coats of it on it. Regarding getting your items to cure up or dry up quickly, everybody has got a curing oven in their driveway, and it's called your automobile. So for me out here in Tucson, I can get 3 to 4 coats in one day because of the immense sun. But for all y'all on the other side of the Mississippi River, or they're close to the Mississippi River or up north, you got the sun coming through your windshields and your windows on your auto. Put a board, put a board in there, set your piece on there, close the doors up, and you can get at least two finishes on in one day, and everything will be cured up and nice rock solid. So just a tip. Oh, and then
I gotta be careful. I've had sun crack pieces.
Yeah.
Well, if they're wet, I wouldn't recommend putting wet items in.
No, stuff that's dry and in, outside, it's drying outside. It's got, no. Depends on the wood. Depends on the wood, I imagine.
It could be because of the humidity up there too. So, but another trick, I don't know if anyone has showed this before. I don't recall it. Held-on pencil wet. So here's a quick way. This is a quick way to make a tenon on your piece without having a guide. So you've got your live center on the backside. If you take a pencil or an ink pen, set it on there on your piece, and then draw that, draw that out on the backside of your piece that you want to make your template or make your tenon on. Now you've got an automatic tenon location to cut for that is going to get you within 1/4 of an inch or less on your chuck jaws, and you don't need any special gauges, or you don't have to grab a hold of your calipers to make sure you're doing the right dimension. Literally.
Good shortcut.
I'm sorry.
Good shortcut. Wood brand ink pen. No.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. All right, so that's all I got.
Thank you, Dane. Appreciate it. And all the work tonight. Folks, our co-host, as we call them, our co-host, help us organize and operate this program each week. And that's why we're here, is for you. I want to make a change just now, and I couldn't get the computer to pop up on me. Alrighty, this is it. It's about 22 after the hour. We've been here 3.5 hours. We've been chatting wood turning, and we've been chatting with you. If you want to be involved, it's absolutely positively free. All you have to do is join us. The link is on our website. Everybody's invited. There's a clock that tells you when to be to the next until the next meeting. That's our website is that darn good. I can remind you again, save the chat for the information that's in there. And Dane, you got a second, put the brand name of that ink pen you used. All right, folks, with that, look, I can't take any more of this. I got 2 pages of notes to work with. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. So say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Eddie.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good night, everybody.
Fantastic.
Jason.
Great
Good night,
show.
Mary Ellen.
Good meeting.
Hey, Dane,
Everybody.
Night, all.
Yes, ma'am.
Take care.
can I ask you about these tools now?
Brenda, be
What,
safe.
Brenda? Oh, we got to go back to Brenda, Eddie. Sorry.
John
you
boy.
forgot
Brenda, I'll get out of spot. Hold on, I gotta get out.
Got her.
All
Brenda,
right, you got it, Brenda.
Sorry, I didn't mean to forget you.
No, that's all right. I was waiting. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No race
Turn it to
up.
the side.
Bull
Okay,
gas.
so that's ground at a traditional
40.
angle.
There's no.
Kinda almost a bottom feeder.
There's-
That's what I was gonna say. That's almost a
Yeah.
bottom.
That's not a fingernail grind.
Yeah, so
What do I do with this?
that is ideal from making that transition on your bowl from the wall to the bowl bottom.
If you
That's
have
why
a-
it's called a bottom feeder, because you can make that corner.
Okay, so that's the only thing it's good for?
No, it's not the only thing. You can turn a bowl with it without a doubt.
I'm
can
gonna
But I
cut
keep
it.
catching that tip.
If you flute it back, if you cut it back like an Ellsworth, which you can do to almost any gouge, a fingernail gouge, a bowl gouge, a roughing gouge. You
That's
know,
what I'm thinking. It needs to be grounded off at the top, right?
It's called an Ellsworth or an Irish
Doesn't
climb.
have to be. That'll
Not
work fine like
necessarily,
that. I mean, I've used a lot of gauges with a traditional
so
grind
Brenda,
just
what
like that,
is-
and they work fine.
Brenda, what's happening? You're saying you're getting catches on that. So that means and if you're using that tool and you're getting catches on it, it's because you got your gouge open too much into the cut. So as you got your gouge going to your piece, you want to close it a little bit and not be presenting it straight on. If you're presenting it straight on, you're going to get catches. But if you
Put the flute at about 2 o'clock.
If you think about a clock face, and if you're between 1:30 and 2:30, you're doing great.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Cutting on this piece down here, right? Using this as the cutting edge?
Yep.
Yep. From the center, from
Yeah,
your
if
center.
you've got that pointed at
Yes.
2 o'clock, you'll be cutting on the tip of the gouge.
Okay. And this is not going to get in the way then?
No, as long as you keep it pointing that way, that'll keep that away from the edge of the bulb.
All right.
Brenda,
Tell you
what
what,
tips
Brenda.
you can do
Yeah.
is take you a red Sharpie and put a line right down the middle of the bottom of that flute. And if
Okay.
you see that line, turn it.
Right. Okay.
To the right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Brenda, I'm going to give you the dumbest direction you're going to get. Turn your lathe off. Turn your lathe off. Present your tool to the wood, and then turn it by hand and watch the slice.
Yes.
If it doesn't slice, it's not working. If it gouges or plows, it's not working. You have to get a slice. You learn how to where the bevel is, where the tip is, where the cut is happening, and what you can control. But you can do it at 1 RPM.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Good advice, Captain.
And then I'll be turning from the from here to the center, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
And that gouge is really great for that.
And so
Okay.
think about, so Brenda, hold that piece back up. Let's highlight you. Let's see.
I got her up on highlight.
No.
Oh, I did. I got her on spotlight.
Okay,
Right?
okay. So as you're looking at the bowl, you see the 12 o'clock face on it, right? Vertical positions of 12 and 6, 9
Up
and
here?
3. Yes, that's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so if you've got that gouge, that flute, the open part, that red line that you're going to draw down the center, if you have that pointed towards 2 o'clock and presenting your bevel to that wall, you are not going to get a catch. Does that make sense?
And that's going to be at center too, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
at center,
Above.
barely above.
Okay.
Never below.
So
Right,
as you're looking
okay.
at right. Okay, good.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I think so.
Okay.
Since now, but not tomorrow.
We want to know. We want to know. And next
Okay.
week we're going to look. Next week, Brenda, we're going to look for Band-Aids.
Call me up if you need to, Brenda.
No,
All
but-
right.
Brenda.
You
All
got it.
right. Thanks, guys.
One more
welcome.
time, we're going to try this, folks. We
All
really,
right.
here's the deal. We've been here 3 hours. And it's not that there's a time. I don't want members to believe that this will stretch way, way out and that they don't have the time to join us. So that's why we want to keep it down to some type of time frame. It has grown since we started and I really love it. But got to think, we're going to run this horse into the ground and that ain't going to happen here. So on behalf of myself and on behalf of my entire advisory team, which you're probably part of, thank you and good night. And now
Good night.
I'm going to count down and turn it off this time. Okay?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Have a great
Night, everybody.
Night,
Night,
Dean.
cowboy.
Night, everybody.
Night,
Thanks, Eddie.
everyone.